Here we are then, everybody. Welcome to Whose Views, and it is the Wilderness Years series. And I was just about to ask who was behind that magazine because I couldn't work it out. But it's Paul!
It's me! Surprise, surprise! Yes.
Yes, here we are then, everybody. We are going to take you right back 30 years ago. I still can't quite grasp that. It's 30 years since 1996. And what a year that was. There were many highs and there were a couple of lows. We're going to be going through all that in this show. As you can see, I'm with Paul and with Third Doctor Ian, and Phil is here as well, who has great pleasure in telling us he was 15 in 1990.
Yes. Yeah.
15.
Do you remember it then?
Lots of it, yeah.
Mainly girls, you were telling us earlier.
And experiments with various alcohols.
Oh,
I think
dear.
Pernod and Blackcurrant around 15.
Oh, yes. I quite like Pernod Black as well for a short time, yes.
Exactly.
Until I
yeah.
spilt it on a lovely white shot. That was horrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tastes the same both ways. That was always the thing with me.
Yeah.
Enjoy together.
I know exactly what you mean, yes. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Lots of people already in the chat with us. Legion of James, nice to see you. The Wilderness Years, I remember them fondly. Absolutely. Darren, hi, Darren Reed. Wants to know where we're off to. Yeah, we are off to 1996. Moriarty, it's good to see you. How you doing? Howdy ho, it's the Wilderness Years. Happy times, boys and girls. They were happy times. If you were there, you know what I mean. Julianne, nice to see you, Julianne. And Cyborg, not a robot. Good evening. Good evening to you as well. Stephen O'Neill's in there as well, and so is Bill Lowry. Good to see you all. Thank you very much, everybody. And Rory Neal is saying, remember, kids, splink. Steve Braddock with us saying, 96 was a great year for music, movies, and, of course, Doctor Who. Yeah, it was, from what I can remember. All I remember was a lot of clubbing, really, and Doctor Who pushed into that. I'm thinking, I don't need Voyager anymore. But there you go. The Captain Janeway's met her match now. I did. Absolutely. John, the Computer Doctor, nice to see you as well. Gosh, everybody's with us tonight, guys. Look at the chat. It's so busy already. Fantastic. John, the Computer Doctor, actually saying to us that not the best year for me is we lost the great Jon Pertwee. He will always be missed. We are, of course, going to be looking at that. That was one of the many one of the big lows, of course. Yeah. Hello, Bedweer, who's telling us he was 10. So Yabu to you, Phil.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Shut up, Bedweer.
All right. So,
it's like a crash now, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like you, Bedweer, I was 10, but 3 times over. I got it 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old was I in 1996? Oh, yeah.
14.
Right. So Lex is with us as well. Hello, Lex. Hi, JT and the Who's Views panel. Hello to you, Lex.
Hello, Lex.
Was it true for the Doctor Who movie? They were thinking of the Monty Python actors for Doctor Who. Stay with us, Lex, because, of course, yes, we've got all that coming up as well. And Rory O'Neill was saying to us, Blackcurrant Tango was great. It was vile. It was awful.
But the advert on television was fantastic.
Which one was that?
It was the one where he started in an office and he was reading a letter from this French lad who didn't like Blackcurrant Tango, and he walked out the office and he stripped all his clothes off and he was ready for a boxing match, and he walked all the way to the White Cliffs of Dover, got into a boxing match with a huge crowd of people behind him, Harrier jets hovering in the background and saying, "Come on, Sebastian." It was mint. It was superb. Look it up, the Blackcurrant Tango Sebastian advert. It's
after the show. After the show, look for it.
Yeah.
After the show.
Not now.
Not now. Yes, not now, everybody. It's good to see you all, everybody. Mark Walker, it's now known as WY1, WY2 incoming. Yeah, Wilderness Years 1, WY2 incoming. We might actually be in the beginning of the Wilderness Years already, everybody. You never know. Yes.
Here's hoping.
The things you hear when you've got your head pushed up against a door. The things you hear. Hi, Steve Andrews. It's nice to see you. Yeah, we've got lots coming up for you. So let's get on with this, shall we? Let's crack on. Oh, look at this from Yokai. Hi, Yokai. The Wilderness Years, or the Golden Age of Who, for me at least. It's weird, isn't it, Yokai? Because when you tell people who weren't around that this was actually a sort of golden age, they don't believe you. But hopefully, this edition of the Wilderness Years will give you a flavour, you youthful people, of why it was actually a real fun time. It was just amazing. It was amazing. But Yeah. Yes. What I want to do first of all is say a huge thank you for this drawing from Adrian Haythorne, one of our regular artists here on the channel, who gave us this cartoon of course, the Doctor that debuted in this particular year, 1996. We are here talking, of course, about Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, reading his Time Machine book there, everyone.
Lovely. Nice.
Brilliant.
So thank you for that, Adrian. Really appreciate it. I know you're watching, so thank you so much for that. And yeah, as ever, everybody, if you've got anything you want to send us, you can get in touch with us at whosviews1@gmail.com. Anything like that, any pictures or photographs or any information, or just a chat, get in touch with me. In the meantime, though, everybody, I'm going to take you back, and we're going to start at the very beginning. I nearly started to sing then, but we would have got a copyright strike, wouldn't we?
Best not to sing. Yeah.
Yes, we are. I'm going to start with January, because January was a really big month for us. But before we get to the big story of January, I want to remind you about this, because this is from the Daily Record, which is Scotland's national newspaper. Well, it was back then, wasn't it? It was Scotland's champion. That's what they used to call themselves, Scotland's champion. You can see at the top there. And this was from Wednesday, January the 31st, 1996. It's Doctor Who and the Dialects. Now, this was this actually, of course, happened in Glasgow on Tuesday, January the 30th, and this was a very special day because I was there. And this was what this was Jon Pertwee, our beloved Jon Pertwee, launching a new telecommunications company in Glasgow, which the paper reported was about to create more than 300 jobs. Shown in the picture there is council worker Billy Lowe, who couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the Doctor with the TARDIS. But this time, the sci-fi legend was fighting the Dole Qs rather than the Daleks. It was one of these.
So where are you? Are you just off camera, just there to the left or the right? Or
I'm behind camera. Yes,
okay,
I'm behind camera because this was a great day for me, actually, everybody. Because I'll let you know what happened here. A mate of mine came running into the place I was working in Glasgow, in Prince's Square, and he said, "My God, Jon Pertwee's down the road." And I was like, "What?" And the whole world just evaporated. And of course, I left work. Jon was calling and I left work. It was very, very naughty, but I was young and didn't really care, quite frankly. So I did say to the woman who was, what was she called? She was a sort of department manager on the floor. "I've got to go, Jon Pertwee's down the road." But I didn't wait the answer, I just went. Anyway, didn't get into trouble or anything. That was happy days in those days. Anyway, so my friend and I ran down. Now, this was just off Glassford Street in Glasgow, where one of the boxes, I think, still is, as you walk into the Merchant City. And it was round the corner from an old gay discotheque called Bennett's. So it wasn't far from where I was working. So we rushed over. And yes, there was the pandemonium. There was the media surrounding this. That's an actual police box. And that was before they repaired it. So you can see in the picture there, it's not in its best state. Look, one of the windows is missing and everything like this. In fact, one of my friends, Paul, lived in the building right opposite it. So, you know, there you go. Didn't need to know that. Just thought I'd throw that in. But anyway, so we went round and lots of media, all the photographers in those days with the big cameras. And there was Mr. Pertwee holding court, as Mr. Pertwee always did. And we went round and we stood right behind those photographers there. Oh, and we were standing and we watched what he did. And he was just being brilliant. And he was being Jon. You know, guys, he was just being Jon. He was being loud and he was being funny and he was being brilliant. And he was telling the cameraman which was his best angle. And he was just being brilliant. He was actually brilliant. And then when that finished, we got to just say, "Oh, Jon, hiya. And he came over to talk to us and he was just amazing. And we reminded him where we'd met him before. And who viewers, of course, he was very courteous and very brilliant and very gentlemanly. And, "Oh, yes, I remember." But he was brilliant. And, you know, we had a couple of silly things, and yet again, he signed them. You know, bits of card. I'd grabbed some card from the shop and all this. And that was the last time I ever saw Mr. Jon Pertwee.
Yeah.
So that day, there's the cutting. That day, is precious to me, Who viewers panel, because yeah, there he was in Glasgow, and I never got to see him ever again.
That's a really lovely story, JT, and it must have
It
hit
is.
really hard when he did pass away in May. We're all affected by it, but the fact you met him so recently from that must have been quite upsetting for you.
It was a blooming shock for all of us, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a real shock. But yeah, even more so when you just think, oh, God, he was here a couple of weeks ago, you know, as it felt, you know, it was just, Rory's saying to us, yes, both police boxes are still there. One on the Glasgow Street and one on Cannon Street. And there's one at the Glasgow Cathedral. And there's one, I still remember, Rory, up towards the Barras on the green. Do you know that one? Yes, I think that's still there as well. Darren saying to us, sadly, 4 months later, he was gone, Ian.
I was just thinking that, and I was thinking, you know, it must be quite bittersweet, or it is bittersweet. You're seeing him in January, and he's so alive and holding court, like you say, and full of Pertwee, and so alive. And then 4 months later, he's gone forever, and it just doesn't feel right, does it? You know, I mean, the TV movie was great and McGann and everything else, but for me, the defining bit of '96 was John going, and yeah.
We're going to have a lot more. We'll have to prepare ourselves for that because it's still difficult 30 years on to talk about the loss of the great Mr. Pertwee, because many of us met him in this beautiful time of the wilderness years, and he was always just brilliant, even if he was in a slightly off mood. He was great. But yeah, so we're going to come to that as well, obviously. Peter Wilcock, it's good to see you. I was 26. I was growing up in the 7-year gap, and I met my future husband at 21. Confessed I was a Doctor Who fan to him at 27. No, I made that bit up. I made him queue up midnight at HMV Liverpool, and we're still together. Well, he's our keeper then, isn't he? Goodness me.
I was there in Edinburgh as well. Yeah, midnight HMV. Yeah.
Pete's saying to us that he loves the TV movie and he loves us as well. Well, Pete, we love you too. Thank you so much. It's good to see you, but I hope you're well. And yeah, you've got a keeper there. I remember one of the fellas I was going out with, when he first saw my Doctor Who collection, I could actually see him going, So funny. Lex, thank you for your super chat saying that David Hasselhoff was suggested name for Doctor Who. Hasselhoff, 73, had faced health challenges, including knee and hip replacement surgeries. David Hasselhoff was the name at that sort of time, wasn't he, in 96? I remember around about 95. And he kept coming back because of the huge success he'd had with Baywatch. Do you remember? They knew him more from Baywatch rather than Knight Rider.
I'm glad he didn't get it, because his costume would probably just be a pair of budgie smugglers, and that would be it, probably.
Thanks for that, Lex. Caravon, it's good to see you. And Funky is also saying to us, yeah, I met Pertwee sometime in the summer of 95. Chris Kaz, thank you for that. Thanks for sharing that story, JT. You're very welcome. Steve Braddock, lovely story. I met John many times. I thought he was immortal. Yeah, such a shock when I heard he passed away. But yeah, I mean, it was just because he was such a presence, John. He was massive. He was just incredible. I am the Doctor. You know, he was just, yeah. So yeah, you never thought of him being able to die, and he went and proved us all wrong on that one. What were you doing, John? Thank you for sharing that story. You're very welcome, Dirty Davros. We are envious and appreciative of you in equal measure. Oh, bless you. Bless you. You can come again. John, the computer doctor. Thanks, Dirty Davros. It was a gut punch losing John. Bloody well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rory O'Neill is saying to us, not sure if it was the red TARDIS in Sauchiehall Street. No, they're all blue now, though, aren't they? But there was a red painted police box on Sauchiehall. Oh, yeah, I think they painted that one blue again, didn't they, Paul?
I think they did. Is there not one in the Transmit Museum in Glasgow as well that's red?
I think there
inside
is.
The museum, I think, as well. Yeah.
Because they tarted them all up. A lot of them now are sort of coffee shops or these
they've done that in Edinburgh with our police boxes too, the coffee shops and things like that. Weird. Yeah, just odd.
Very tacky stuff.
Yeah.
Tiny Triumph, hello mate. I met Jon Pertwee twice, once in character as Wurzel Gummidge, opening a summer furniture range at MFI, there's a name, and again at a Doctor Who event in 1995. He's greatly missed. Absolutely is. He really is. Yeah. Stephen L. Reese, it was heartbreaking hearing the news. My mother had to break it to me as she knew how much I loved Jon Pertwee, as I was a huge fan of Wurzel Gummidge as well. Yeah, John had several audiences, actually, didn't he? He had the older generation, the Doctor Who generation, the Wurzel Gummidge generation, and the sort of comedy fans as well. Huge.
Well, it was massive. It was massive on the radio before ever Doctor Who. You know, so you had Puffney Post Office, of which nothing exists. He had the Navy Lark, of which a lot exists, because it ran for 17 years, I think, until 77. But I like a lot of the Navy Lark. It gets a little bit repetitive at times, but just hearing Pertwee's voice, even though he's putting one of his voices on as CPO Pertwee, and then in later episodes he plays other various characters, you can always tell it's Pertwee. But just hearing him is just sublime.
Absolutely.
Because John took over from Ronnie Barker in terms of doing a lot of the voices, didn't he? Because Ronnie Barker did many other characters.
I didn't realise, you know,
Ronnie's at that point. Yeah.
For the first few years in the Navy Lark, Pertwee and Ronnie Barker were like a double act.
Yeah.
You know, one of the ones that you don't realise, like John Cleese and Les Dawson were a double act for a while on TV. You don't realise that, but they were. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah. Stephen Braddock is remembering that. I'll never forget when a fan in front of me at HMV London asked John to sign the new video. It was the Ark in Space. And he said, I'm not signing that. Give me one of mine instead. Now, John was very good at doing that. That was a running gag of John's. He would do that if somebody gave him something that wasn't his doctor. He wouldn't do it. He'd say, no, give me something that's mine. And had to go back.
I could never do that. I'm too OCD. It'd have to be a Pertwee thing to sign. We have to.
Yeah. It has to be era correct, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Paul?
Yes. Yeah.
It has to be era correct. Absolutely. What have we got from Care Avon? I was in my 20s in 1996, and to think 30 years have passed. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? It's just gone like that.
Yeah.
And the world's gone backwards rather than forwards. I think I need to lie down on the grass again, as I think this is where I may end up tonight due to be in trouble at home. Oh, really? Oh, do tell us more. We love a bit of gossip here. What have you done? Have you got flowers or something like that? Moriarty is saying to us, Transport Museum in Glasgow has moved now. There is a TARDIS in it just now, though. There we go.
Right. Okay.
And Rory is saying, yes, it's the Riverside Museum. No, so if anybody's popping up to Glasgow, there you go. You can see that. Hello, Darren Zoe, mate. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us all, everyone. Mark Greaves in your super chat. Thank you. John is immortal. Nobody will talk about this era the way they do about his. Yeah. I mean, you know, the brilliant thing, as I've always said, Mark, is my opinion is that the first 7 Doctors, and especially the first 4, will be watched forever.
Yeah.
The modern stuff, I'm not convinced will be, because it's incredibly dated.
Yeah.
You know, because it's of its day. Everything's set in its day. And I think that was a massive mistake, but that's just personal. But anyway, here we go. Thank you for that, Mark. Very good of you. And Darren is actually saying to us, Darren Zone, I was a reporter on the Pontypool Free Press when John passed. I'll never forget the moment my dad called to tell me I wrote a tribute for the entertainment section of that week's edition. We're going to be looking
I'm sure you guys remember seeing it on all the news, on the ITV news, the BBC news, and it was just a shocking thing to see. It really was. Yeah. Like you didn't expect it to happen. Like you said, he's immortal, but it was such a shock seeing it on the news for real. I remember McCoy being on the news on ITV one, kind of again paying a tribute to him, and obviously being very upset about it. So it was lovely to see Sylvester showing a tribute, stuff. It's nice. Yeah,
we're going to cover more of that during the show as well. So stay with us, everybody, because I'm going to take you now into the big news. That was just me throwing something in there in January, but there was a little other thing that had happened in January, and it's fair to say that after this, nothing was the same again. Yes, of course, it was announced in January that Paul McGann was the new Doctor Who. Now, this was an incredible way to start off the year. And I remember hearing about it on this particular January on a very cold morning in Glasgow when I am off. And this has come on the radio. And I thought, what? So I had to go immediately to the press. And I had to prove the point. And so I did. And it was everywhere. This was official. We had waited 7 years for this, everybody. For those of you that remember, it was 7 years. The Doctor had been off air by this point. Some of us, like myself, were absolutely 100% he was going to arrive back at some point. And this was the time when we all thought, this is it. Remember, guys?
Yeah, I'd been watching Dimension and Time on a loop since it came back. Honestly, just on a loop, but
Dimension
that's all we had.
It's odd because it's not canon, is it? But fair enough.
Well, that's my opinion, yeah. But
It's not. But this was the big news, and that is, of course, what part of what we're celebrating now, because it is all those years ago. But look at some of this. This was from the Daily Mail on the 11th of January 1996. Calling the Doctor, McGann is BBC's choice for £5 million relaunch of a sci-fi classic. I don't know if you remember all this, but this was suddenly big news for us, everybody, because what they were talking about here was, of course, suddenly Doctor Who was in the money.
5 million, that's a lot, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, yeah.
In 96 it is, yeah.
That's the Daily Mail. We had this from the Daily Record as well. Smart Dalek Paul takes over as the new Doctor Who. I mean, this was everywhere. This was big news. I couldn't quite believe this. It was absolutely huge. What we've also got here is this. This is some stuff I took at the time. You can see some stuff from the Daily Mirror, the Daily Express, and the Daily Mail from the 17th of February. Because it wasn't just January where we got this news. This news stayed in the papers all the way to and beyond the showing of the Doctor Who movie. Do you remember, guys?
Yeah, I do remember. There's lots of coverage. Yeah.
It's huge.
Interestingly enough, as well, if you look at that left-hand side one from the Daily Mirror on the 17th of February, 1.25 million deal for Doctor Who star Paul. Now, this, of course, took the allegedly, and one day I'll ask him. Allegedly, Paul McGann was the first £1 million salaried actor to play the Doctor.
So a huge portion of it went on his fee. Never mind 5 million. And what, you got $1 million?
How much did Janet Fielding take of that, by the way?
I wonder. Yeah.
5 million in
15%.
96.
Yeah.
5 million in 96 is apparently 12.18 million today.
No, it's not, is it?
It's what the iPhone says.
Wow. Must be true. Must be true. Yeah.
Wow.
That's just Apple money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's odd, isn't it, when you consider that they spent about 8 million an episode on that shooty crap.
And they had space babies. What did we get?
Yeah.
Nothing.
He's dodged a bullet there, Phil, definitely.
When I first heard the news about Paul McGann in the TV movie, Sister Darren's Own, I didn't actually believe it. There had been so many rumours, false dawns, and disappointments. Yeah, there had been. I mean, the amount of rumours about films and people who've been cast. Sting was going to be the Doctor. Do you remember that one?
I remember
David
the Sting
Bowie.
one, yeah.
David Bowie was going to be the Doctor. Paul Daniels was going to be the Doctor.
Daniels.
Eric Idle was another one. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Obligatory dimensions and time reference has been made, says Funky. Yes, and hopefully we'll be
Yeah, I just like to get my system while we're here, but
And Mark
I'm
Greaves is
storing
saying
my
to us,
time lash one for later.
We've just done it. Mark Greaves is saying to us, Paul met him, don't you know? Yes, he did.
yes.
Did you?
And here's me as Paul McGann, if you just about see. There we are.
What we got here from Tiny Trones, the TARDIS set was apparently 1.5 million.
It did look
The
gorgeous.
set's amazing. Yeah.
There's sod all left for the rest of it. Between McGann and the TARDIS, they've only got 2 million left.
That's why most of the set in the TARDIS, I think, to be honest.
Lex, thank you for your super chat. And he's saying McGann's hairstyle was better than the wig he got. Well,
No, that's not, because I remember seeing the pictures of Paul McGann with short hair and just thinking, no, that's not Doctor Who, because he's got that kind of crew cut thing. I wasn't impressed.
Well, there you go.
Similar to what Eccleston had, isn't it, when he did it?
Yeah. But
I wasn't impressed with that either.
McGann had just done another series, hadn't he, where he'd had his hair cut short? Or
some kind of army drama or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think
Was it the SAS thing?
Yeah.
During the Iraq War.
I've got a picture of it coming up. But the point about this is, while we were reading about this and hearing about it on the news, he was already over there filming, because these things had been done in December, these pictures. Now, that's one of the famous ones, of course. That's at the old Longleat exhibition, of course, where he's writing his name on where his picture eventually turned up. In the rondels on the console room set at Longleat. But I couldn't quite believe it. I'm reading this and I'm going, wait, he's there already. They're actually filming this. They're actually, what? Oh my God, this is happening. And I remember we all went to the pub. We all went to a coffee shop and we were all a bit like this. You know, it was taking time and a few lattes
Yeah, we couldn't quite believe it because, like you said, there were so many false starts of it's coming back, it's not, it's a movie, blah 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 blah, and eventually it came back.
Yeah,
for one night.
It turned out to be one night, but we didn't know that at the time. And remember, there was great optimism. There was great optimism about it. No, the wig was perfect, said Farsight for a super chat.
I didn't mind it. It was all right.
Yeah, it suits him, and it suits his doctor. Yeah, I don't think that short hair would suit the McGann doctor in the film with the lovely outfit and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, so this was January, everybody, of course, and this was the big news and the shock hit us, and it just went through fandom, didn't it? We were all just a little bit, as I say, just a little bit sort of, this is actually happening. And then, of course, we started getting together as fans. We started to celebrate this. We started to look forward. But then again, there was also the trepidation of what were they going to do? More of that coming up in the show, obviously. But there was that sort of, oh, it's been done over there. Ooh, the Americans were involved.
By the Daleks.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
As ever, of course, 1996, boys and girls, no internet. We were in the very early stages. I mean, it wasn't even out there. BT, it was a little glimpse in their eye, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For that gentleman whose name I can never remember now. But it was a little glimpse in the eye because it was coming along in development with him at the time, but nowhere near public access. There were no emails. Everything was done by fax and photocopiers and snail mail. Happy days.
I had literally one person at school called Graham who I could talk to Doctor Who about. And my chemistry teacher, Mr. Kershaw. That was literally everybody I knew about who was remotely interested in Doctor Who at 15. So that was the only people I had to talk to about it.
It was hard work as well because, of course, it had been off the air for 7 years. And at this point, we were all at a certain age where we'd grown up a bit.
Yeah.
And, we were worried about mortgages or rents. We were working. We were in the job. We were clubbing, some of us, and, it was huge. It was just party most of the time. Work, party. But the mainstay, like in our previous shows throughout 1996, was, of course, Doctor Who magazine. These are the covers for the 1996 editions. Did they bring back memories?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one with the crystal that Paul's got in his hand. I remember that one distinctly. That was superb.
Yeah.
The infamous now is the Doctor cover, which has been, since Peter Davidson, because remember they spelled his name wrong.
With a D,
Yeah, each Doctor had a cover. And this one was very exciting. So that was the March edition where Paul got the cover. So we were very nearly there because, of course, the thing was broadcast in May. But these are the covers. News, of course, everybody, came from the Gallifrey Guardian. And this earliest one here was from the Doctor Who magazine from February 1996, who confirmed that both Sylvester McCoy and the Daleks were going to be in the TV movie, everybody. Do you remember this particular story? Do you remember what was going to be happening? The BBC requests the addition of Top Adversary to the new script.
Now, I don't remember this headline at all, but was this, you may get to this later, but did they have the clips of Spielberg's redesign of the Daleks on telly around about this time as well, or was that later?
I think that had been before.
Was it before? I can't remember.
So the execs and the production team were too busy getting the thing in the can at this particular point, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, those sorts of things about the, the prototype drawings of the concept drawings, as we now know them, were presented to a Doctor Who convention in America. I think it was either 94 or 95.
Right, I couldn't remember.
By a certain Mr. Philip Siegel, and he was there presenting all this with these big artboards. Because I remember seeing photographs of it. Yeah, you're right, Paul. But it's before this. This is when they're actually out there. So it's pretty cool. Then we got the big news. He's back, which came in the March 1996 edition of Doctor Who magazine, which confirmed what we all knew by this particular point, that filming of Doctor Who as a movie, a TV movie, was actually almost complete. The transmission dates by the BBC and the Fox network were still subject to speculation, but it went into the fact that Sylve was coming back. McCoy, of course, was going to be at the beginning of the film. We knew about McGann. It went into all the stuff there. It introduced the new production team. And then it had bits and pieces here about how the BBC was delighted to have it back. It had bits and pieces about, the introduction of Grace, and that the Master was going to be in this. So this was getting exciting. Do you remember?
It's certainly ramping up, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
It was. Hi, Real Geriatric. It's good to see you in the chat. Farsight is saying to us, I remember seeing the Dalek in 1995 on Games Master with Dominic Diamond.
That's when it was. Yes, I remember as well. That bloody awful design of a Dalek. That was dreadful.
Yeah. Tiny Triumphs is saying, they did test shots of the Spider Daleks. Yeah. And Farsight saying to us, Paul had starred in The Hanging Gale not long before he went off to do Doctor Who.
With his brothers, yeah.
From Legion of James, I remember buying every paper and magazine that had any mention of the movie, even one sentence, desperately trying to find out every slither of information. I honestly haven't a clue what you mean. Rory O'Neill saying Euro 96 football was on, was it?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry. No, don't remember any of that. And Steve Braddock is saying, yes, there was no internet. It was the Stone Age. It was happier times to an extent.
Good times.
Yeah.
Not even dial-up at that point, no. Yeah.
No, it wasn't even there. That was just still
Actually, we had it at work. We had access to the internet at that point at work. So I remember trawling, but you didn't really have many websites as such. We were developing a government one at the time, but there were the alt chat groups that existed on platforms like Outlook Express. For people that remember those, you could get onto they were basically text-based groups that just basically consisted of people abusing each other. So that happened online long before Twitter or X or anything else. It's always been a thing.
It was inevitable, yeah.
Yeah, but they were there roughly in the very early stages at that point. I've got to be honest, they were, yeah.
I think we might have had one computer at school that was on the internet in 95, 96-ish.
No, I mean, it was really launched in 99 as the big thing, and that. But it cost.
Well, no, I was at uni in 99. We definitely had the internet there. So we had some there was like one computer, mind.
It would have been
I
very.
could Google it.
That was gigantic. Well, the ones with the kind of bits of going like that, was it?
Lots of flashing lights.
Yeah.
And it spoke. It went, "What are you searching for?" And you had to tell it.
Did you have a steam-powered megabyte modem?
Yes.
Oh dear, there's a name. Lex, thank you for your super chat. Plus, they could not get Anthony Ainley, hence the stand-in for the prologue. Well, actually, they didn't ask. They didn't ask Anthony Ainley, and there was no real point. They weren't that bothered with I say they weren't that bothered with continuity, but they weren't that bothered with the continuity. So, because I remember Anthony Ainley saying ages ago, I was never asked to do it. And he would have done had they asked him, but he wasn't.
There's a lovely re-edit of it with him in it from Destiny of the Doctors, which is quite funny. So on YouTube, it's very funny, and it works quite well, actually. Yeah.
Moriarty is saying that he worked in an internet cafe in Charing Cross in Glasgow in 1996. Okay, fine.
92 to 94, the internet says. The internet says the internet was available.
There you go. Okay.
Again, it must be
They would
true.
say that, wouldn't it?
Well,
that's what it wants you to think.
Maybe it's just where I was working there where we didn't have that. I don't know. Where we got there as well. Funky says, does anyone remember the Marches to the Radio Times where Who shared the cover with the X-Files? Yes, that's coming up. Well, not the cover, but we've got all that coming up. We've got that coming up. Let's go into this, because let's go back to March. March the 1st, actually, of 1996. Friday, March the 1st, 1996. The speculation, picture it, the speculation was really building by this point, because it was announced Doctor Who was coming back in the January. We were all over this by March. We were like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And the press loved it. And the press looked for absolutely any story at all to include Doctor Who in the press, including this one from the Daily Star on March the 1st, 1996. Here's Who's Who in the Time Docs movie with a really awful picture of Sylvester McCoy. It says the script for the new Doctor Who TV movie is one of the closely guarded secrets in showbiz. But the Daily Star can now reveal exactly what's going to happen in the television event of the year. Actor Paul McGann is taking over the Time Lord for the 3.3 million American-made film. You see that it's always changing when it comes to the costume. But what no one knows is that his predecessor, Sylvester McCoy, is making a return to the screen in the opening scenes so he can regenerate into McGann. The opening scene finds Sylvester McCoy sitting in the TARDIS eating jelly babies as a tribute to Tom Baker's Doctor and reading a copy of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. He lands in San Francisco on New Year's Eve, 1999, to watch the end of the Millennium celebrations. It says here as well, but there's not much to celebrate when a fearsome poisonous snake controlled by arch enemy the Master gets its fangs into him. The Doctor is facing death and is rushed to a hospital where a beautiful doctor, played by Daphne Ashbrook, battles to save his life in the emergency room. My God, I don't believe it. He's got 2 hearts, she declares. But to her dismay, the dishy doc is unable to save his life. Before he can be taken off to the morgue, however, the Time Lord changes into his new form. Having had his old costume taken away and replaced by hospital robes, McGann goes searching for a new outfit. Fortunately, the hospital staff are having a fancy dress party that night. Finding all the costumes hanging up, he roots through them to make his selection, and he picks up a long scarf similar to the one worn by Tom Baker's Doctor, smiles and says, nah, then opts for a Victorian gentleman type costume. Meanwhile, hot on his trail is the Master, played by intense actor Eric Roberts, the brother of famous actress Julia. He has a fiendish plan to destroy the Earth at the stroke of midnight, but he needs the Doctor out of the way to accomplish it. But our hero gets some help in battling him. After persuading the gorgeous Doctor, that he's the same man she saw down the operating table, the Time Lord teams up with her, and the two of them set out on an urgent quest to save the world. The 2-hour film will be released on video in mid-May, a few days after being premiered on American television. It will be screened on BBC One in the autumn. Sylvester McCoy said, "It's great that the show is back, and I wish this new generation Doctor Who all the best and happy sailing in the TARDIS." So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
That's really spoilery, don't you think?
It's really crap, that, isn't it? It's what's the point in buying the video? Yeah.
But what I was going to say is that is Friday, March the 1st, 1996. It's the Daily Star. Now, to this day, the Daily Star scoops everything and manages to do it. This goes back to 1996. How did they do that? Who leaked that to? Because that is spot on. They got it absolutely right. So when people say these days, "Oh, it's the Daily Star," ta-da! It goes back. It sometimes knows what it's doing because most of them.
It was right once in March of 1996.
It was. It's just being pedantic. As I know Phil is. It wasn't going to Earth to watch the New Year celebrations, was he? He was heading back to Gallifrey with the Master's remains, and the TARDIS crash landed in 1999. So they got that bit wrong.
They got that bit wrong, but the rest of it's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. Yeah, if I'd have read that, I would have been gutted to find out all about it. It would have really spoiled it.
Yeah. As Juliana's saying to us here, blimey, spoilers. Yeah. My problem with Juliana back in 1996 is I didn't read the newspapers that often at all, and didn't really trust anything apart from the date, which I always questioned. But that one, I read that. I remember reading that thinking, oh, right, okay. All right. Okay, that's interesting. And then it came back to me, Julian, when I'm watching the video of the actual movie, thinking, oh my God, that paper had it right. Where is it? And I've kept it ever since. Daniel Cox, good to see you. I remember buying the TV movie on VHS on the 14th of May and then watching it on broadcast on the 27th of May. Absolutely. Happy days for us, isn't it? But I thought I'd just throw that in. Rory Neal is saying to us, Daily Star had a long-running deal with the BBC as it was used in a few comedy shows on the BBC. Oh, see, maybe somebody at what was then BBC Worldwide just said, here's the script.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Do I remember rightly that they were going to release the video a week or so before, and then at the last minute they pulled it and did it on the 14th? I think there was initially an earlier release date.
It was still released before we got to see it on TV, though, wasn't it? So that's
yeah. I remember going. I went to my friends to watch it, or we arranged that I would go to watch it, and it was, I think the 14th might have been. This was a Wednesday anyway, so I don't know if the 14th of May in '96. Phil, if you want to check on your Apple device, was the 14th of May a Wednesday? I don't know, but I was going to go and watch it. And we had to put it back a week or possibly 2 because the release was delayed. So I still went and we watched Bidding Adieu, which did come out.
Just so people who weren't there know what Bidding Adieu is.
It was a Tuesday.
Sylvester McCoy did a video. Sorry, Phil?
It was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday, right? Near enough. Sylvester McCoy did a video diary of his time in Vancouver and the handover and everything else, and a little chat with McGann, and of course they were mates going back some time, and it was released on VHS under the title of Bidding Adieu.
That's right.
And it was Mark Gatiss
has it been released on DVD?
Doing it as well, I think. Yeah,
I never saw it. Yeah, you're right, Paul. Mark Gatiss was involved with it. I never saw a DVD version, and I haven't seen it re-released this year either, which I was sort of expecting, guys, because I know you're watching. Hiya. John, the computer doctor, saying to us, I didn't read a thing about the film, which was maybe a good thing, especially if you were a reader of the Daily Star, because this is really early on. Had that version, says Dirty Davros, of the 7th Doctor being in production and with that console room, do you think Syl's Doctor would have been more popular? Syl's Doctor, not Syl's. I
was thinking about Syl. Pushed around on his green bubbly platform.
Yeah.
Had that version of the second. Well, it depends again on the scripts, doesn't it? If the scripts have matched the sort of grown-up, darker element, then Sylvester may have had a chance because he had to have a toned-down performance. So that is definitely one of these what-ifs moments, isn't it, guys?
I think it would have definitely needed. I mean, nothing against him because he was tired at this point. It would have, if it was going to continue with that set and Sylvester McCoy and a bit more money, it would have probably had to have somebody else other than JNT. I think he burnt himself out by that point anyway, so it would have needed,
I think the problem is the reason why it wasn't a success, we all know, is because it was opposite Roseanne in America, and that's why it didn't succeed. So it is a what if he did it. But I think McGann, if he had a chance to do it in the UK just with the BBC, it would have been brilliant. It would have a huge success over here, and I think it would have been if they put money into it over here and just ignored the American part of the deal and did it here instead.
Yeah.
Funky is saying, I've got a DVD of Bidding Adieu. And Daniel Cox is saying, I got Bidding Adieu on VHS. Yes, it's on DVD. There you go.
Oh, is it?
Cool.
Thanks for that, guys, if you want that. So you can look it up. That was the Daily Star doing what the Daily Star does to this very, very day. But it was still celebrated elsewhere. We've got these from the Evening Times, which is from Glasgow. 27th of March 1996, TV kickoff for comedy team and old favourites set to return. Now, the other big news that everybody now, of course, forgets of 1996 was that the Liverbirds were coming back. Now, the Liverbirds was a massive comedy for the BBC written by Carla Lane in the late 60s into the 70s. And it was a massive, massive show. And it was a big, you can actually see the reruns now on That's TV too. It's all there. And they announced that it was going to come back. So 1996 was, Doctor Who's coming back. And then the Liverbirds was coming back. And I remember being quite excited about the Liverbirds as well, because I'd grown up with the Liverbirds. And I have very fond memories of the Liverbirds with both, Polly James was in it, Nerys Hughes, both of whom were in Doctor Who. And of course, Elizabeth Estenson took over from Polly James. Remember? So I was quite excited about this. It was quite, unfortunately, it was bloody rubbish. It was awful and it flopped and it didn't get to go to a second series. There you go. But this is quite funny, actually, this from the Evening Times. The team behind Rabsy Nesbitt have scored another comedy coup. Their latest series has been commissioned for a Prime Network slot on BBC One in the summer. The network has picked up Atletico Partick, a sitcom about a pub football team after a successful pilot screening last year. So good for them. It then also went on to say about the return of the Liverbirds. The Liverbirds and Doctor Who, with a 1990s twist, are among the highlights of BBC TV's £249 million spring and summer season. Stars Albert Finney, Paul McGann, Amanda Donohoe, and others will join BBC regulars such as Dawn French and Terry Wogan. Sci-fi classic Doctor Who returns as a feature film set in San Francisco. Paul McGann becomes the 8th Doctor, and the 3.5 million production will be released on video in mid-May. There's another point there as well. That it says, at the centre of BBC One's new drama season are the late Dennis Potter's final plays. See, it all puts it in a certain time, doesn't it, really, though?
It does.
Yeah. I might have dug this off my shelf. This is my copy of Bidding Adieu.
Oh, on VHS, that's the
on
one.
VHS, yes. I didn't realise it was on DVD. I would have bought that for DVD, but it's quite an interesting little documentary. And Paul McGann's petrified about fandom. It's very funny. Yeah. So,
it was that video, Who viewers, of course, if you've got Bidding Adieu, if you've seen it, was where we all thought we're never going to get into a convention. And indeed, we didn't for many years. But more of that on another show when we get to that particular point. But more of that. So I'm trying to set the scene here for what was happening in early '96 before the big things that come along later on. This wasn't the last that we actually heard from the great Mr. Pertwee, however, because of course certain things were coming through about what was going on or what had gone on the shoot of Doctor Who, the television movie, over in Canada. And I remember show business being rife with people phoning or faxing or whatever and telling them, oh, this is how Eric Roberts is blah, 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 or Paul McGann's done that. Do you know, it was rife, and that got down to all of us, and you would hear certain things, wouldn't you? And there was another little thing that came through, which I think set all us British fans on edge. And I know it certainly did with Mr. Pertwee from the Daily Mirror, the 14th of March, 1996. My Doctor Who had no time for sex. The Mirror goes on to say, impish Jon Pertwee had Wogan. Impish?
Wow.
Impish Jon Pertwee had Wogan and a group of his pals choking over their drinks at the Garrick Club. The former Doctor Who was quietly munching his way through a packet of strange-looking delicacies when the curious Terry Wogan caught his eye. Terry and his chums asked me what I was eating, and I told them, says Pertwee. I was trying out a new type of cocktail savoury and offered them a round. You should have seen their faces when I revealed they were eating crickets. Although they tasted delicious, cooked with onion and garlic and a touch of Tabasco. John was given them while investigating kitchen creepy crawlies for tonight's edition of Food File. Although he is not often seen on the box these days, the debonair, I like that word, the debonair white-haired star still appears in Radio Adventures. It is 20 years since he appeared in Doctor Who, but he is still a big draw at sci-fi conventions. He says he is not surprised that 36-year-old Paul McGann has been given the role in the lavish new £3 million TV movie.
It's going down.
I know, yeah. But he has.
I wonder if Paul's fee changed as well. That'd be interesting.
But he has mixed feelings about the Good Doctor's role involving sex for the first time. Pertwee says it goes against the spirit of the original series, but it was obvious when they cast a handsome young man that they would involve him in romance. I don't know what kids will make of it. It's a sign of the times, I guess, sighs 76-year-old John. He is celebrating 60 years in show business, during which he presented Sunday nights at the London Palladium, starred in the Carry On movies, worked on radio in the Naval Ark, and proved a kiddie's favourite in Wurzel Gummidge. Now I travel around the country doing my one-man show, shamelessly dropping names, admits John, who called his autobiography Moon Boots and Dinner Suits. His son Sean, 30, and daughter Dariel, 32, have both followed in his footsteps as actors. John says he always gave them simple advice. Speak up, make yourself heard, and don't bump into the furniture. That's from Thursday, March the 14th in the TV Daily Mirror.
Good advice. Yeah.
96, everybody. Oh, and there's a round of applause for whoever that is.
That's not one of mine.
That's Pepsi, I'm afraid. But I love the whole bit about, I love the whole setting of that story. The whole thing with I was enjoying some little cocktail snacks and things like that. I think it's brilliant.
It's never just dunking a biscuit in Costa, is it, with Pertwee? It's eating something exotic in the Garrick Club. And you just imagine if you'd moved it forward 30 years, and he's talking about, oh, here's the black gay tranny doctor sticking his tongue down the throat of another bloke. Like, my God, can you imagine? He'd be bringing the crickets back
I think
up.
he'd have views, wouldn't he?
It shows the class, though, of the industry at the time, because there they were in their club. One of the many clubs that the actors went to. Of course, the Water Rats had a club as well, which was massive, because everybody was practically involved with the Water Rats. But it shows they were classy. And, you know, what happened in private lives happened in private lives. They didn't go talking about it. A lot of these people do today, you know. And the Garrick was incredibly expensive back in the day. I mean, you know what I mean? It was very posh, wasn't it? And that's where everybody went. And that's why they all knew each other. I mean, John knew blooming Roger Moore and everybody. He'd been around for such a time. You know, it was incredible. Darren's only saying to us that the first part of Dennis Potter's last drama, Cold Lazarus, was shown on the same night as the TV movie. 2 pieces of sci-fi on the BBC One in an evening that would never happen now. No, it's true, isn't it? Because you don't know what sci-fi is today, really. A lot of you remembering stuff here. Keep your memories coming. Ezra, hello, Ezra Goldstein. How are you today? Hope you are well. Does anyone have moon boots and dinner suits? Yeah, I've got a copy upstairs somewhere. It's very funny. Rocking Terry Lee, good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you for your super chat, Real Geriatric. Bidding Adieu is about £18 on Amazon as a DVD. There you go, Paul.
Wow, thank you very much. I might have to buy that, I think, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So they've just had a real plug that I didn't count on there, but well done. Plymouth Who Pro, nice to see you. I was 13 when the TV movie came out. I watched the VHS so many times that month. I remember sitting in the bath and reciting the entire thing. That's when I thought, it's best to stop. That's a great memory. Thanks for that, Plymouth Who. And Funky is saying, I've been looking for a copy of Moon Boots and Dinner Suits for decades. It is very difficult to get hold of. I mean, if you're looking at the secondhand bookshops, the antique bookshops, that's where eventually it's going to turn up, I'm afraid.
The one I got was signed by Pertwee.
Wow.
Legit signature as well, but sadly not signed for me. It was just signed when I got it, but wonderful anyway.
Yeah. No, true. Rocky Terry Lee saying, who remembers about the same time or shortly after Project Enterprise getting a license? Talking Daleks, remote control Daleks, talking Cybermen, massive toys they were. Yeah, huge. I'm very, very good. I've got loads of them upstairs. But yeah, they were just superb. And they stayed until 2004 when the license was taken away from them. But never mind. There you go. Welcome to Who's Views, everybody. You are watching The Wilderness Years with us here. We are in 1996 for this particular episode. Still can't get over it, Who Views. 40 years ago. I mean, when you say it, it's
hold on, 30 years ago, 30, not 40.
When you say it, it's just ridiculous.
Don't make it any longer than it is, JT, for goodness sake.
No, it's true. I'm so sorry. Yeah. The stories were coming thick and fast. And that particular one that we just mentioned there was one that had us all as Doctor Who fans rather concerned. Do you remember, gentlemen? The Doctor was going to have a little bit of rum-po-po-po in this particular movie, this particular version. I remember being very, very upset by this at the time. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, well, I was worried about being romantic and Americanized and stuff like that a little bit, but when you saw it, actually, in the end, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. You know.
Yeah, but at the time, though, before we saw it, you were worried.
I was well up for it. I couldn't wait. There might be a bit of boob in it.
It says Paul McGann's boob you see in it, to be honest. That's what you see, right?
Well,
and you don't mean the outtakes, do you? No.
I'm not talking
there was
about
an awful lot of concern in Doctor Who fandom about this, and that also got into the press. We're jumping to April here, and this is the Daily Record on April the 26th, 1996, who led with the headline, "Now look who's got a lumber." Doctor Who is set to send shockwaves through the galaxy with his first screen kiss. The Time Lord will be seen in a clinch with a gorgeous girl Friday in his movie Comeback. Paul McGann will start in the 3.5 million film. The ninth actor.
That's inflation for you. Yeah.
Paul McGann will star in the 3.5 million film, the ninth actor to play the Doctor. In it, he snogs sexy sidekick Dr. Grace Holloway, alias Daphne Ashbrook. The movie is set in 1999 when the Doctor's archenemy, the Master, played by Julia Roberts' brother Eric, is plotting to destroy the Earth. And the kiss happens after the Doctor snaps out of a bout of memory loss. But McGann, who was picked for the role ahead of Sting and Alan Rickman, isn't saying if the kiss is the start of an intergalactic romp. He said, there are kisses and kisses. He doesn't kiss her by mistake, but it is not licentious. It is a magic moment. It's already upset the show's Scots fans who've been lobbying the Beeb to bring back the Doctor after a 7-year absence. Amanda Murray, who runs the Edinburgh and Lothian branch of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, said, I'm sure Paul will make a great Doctor, but I only hope this smoochy stuff doesn't go too far. The Doctor is an alien and always has been asexual. The film by the BBC and US giants Universal Television will be released on video on May the 15th. It will be shown on television later. The small screen series was axed after ratings slumped to less than 4 million. But there will be more films if this one is a hit. McGann added, I'm stunned by how many fans are looking forward to the film. For them, the Doctor is very important. And of course, these shots as well, which were more sort of snippets, if you like, of the film. It was quite exciting to see that, but I was very sort of, oh no, typical. They're trying to do that.
The picture suggests that he's just getting dressed again after having sex with Daphne. Obviously, that's what it looks like, you know.
I was just thinking that's probably what Phil was thinking as his 15-year-old.
I was rubbing my hands together. But what's a lumber? I don't get the headline. He's got a lumber.
A lumber is when you pull someone. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was the saying of the time.
Yeah.
Is that a Scottish thing then? Is that?
I think it is actually.
Yeah. I think it is. I'll tell you who's classier in their coverage of the Doctor's comeback than the tabloids was, of course, the Radio Times. They introduced Paul McGann to their readership, which was massive at the time, if you remember, by this article, Who is McGann This Time, from the edition 17th to the 23rd of February 1996. And that picture, which is obviously very quickly put together with the technology of the day, shows McGann. Yeah. I mean, the brilliant thing about that picture was, again, this was another brand new picture of the Doctor, as McGann as the Doctor that we hadn't seen. I mean, I was thrilled with this. I was absolutely thrilled. And it was just a nice little sort of, not so much an interview, because he didn't really have the time there. So it was more statements, really. Like, the sets are fantastic. They don't wobble. This sort of stuff. But it showed you some of the roles that he was famous for at that particular time. And we have to remember that this was a big deal because the Radio Times was a big deal then. Do you remember? In those days, the Radio Times covered the BBC shows and the TV Times covered the ITV shows. So now they were covering all the channels together at this particular point in 96. This was a big deal. This was the first time the Doctor or the show had got involved with this sort of format for the TV listings magazines here.
So is this really an article before the X-File / Doctor Who cover they did? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the X-Files Doctor Who one, that was another one because it had Mulder and Scully at the top, and then underneath it had that blue picture, that now famous blue picture
with the guys,
generation, to make it look all X-Filey and spooky. But that was sort of the market they were also going for, wasn't it? It was pretty clear back in '96 they're after the X-Files audience, and to an extent it worked, as we all know now. Pretty amazing. But the Radio Times were quite classy, I thought, back then. Do you remember?
It was, but in that era, it was still in the time where you trusted the Radio Times in the same way you trusted BBC News in a way that we just wouldn't now. There's so much has happened in the last 30 years, but in '96 you trusted it. What it said, you believed.
Well, it's the same as the BBC itself, wasn't it? We all sat down to watch the BBC News. The 6 and the 9 o'clock news were essential viewing. If you weren't out, you would watch that, see what was going on. Breakfast time in the morning. A lot of people were watching breakfast time still at that particular point. We still had CFAX. A different world, isn't it, really? Ezra is saying to us, I did not like the Doctor kissing his companion. Join me over here, Ezra. I still don't. The Doctor should only have a platonic relationship with his companion. Yeah, it's an argument that this movie brought in, and is still here 30 years later.
The one I have most objection to is the end one with the part company at the very end of it. The bit when he realizes of the Doctor again, that's okay. That one works, I think, but the other one's a bit excessive, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
Phil probably feels differently about that, but just one.
Well, 15-year-old feels like go for it or don't bother.
Yeah.
He'd have been exhausted by the end credits, would Phil? I think unfortunately, it probably set a bit of the tone for what came in 2005. It made it sort of like socially acceptable, but on the whole, Doctor Who was back. I wasn't going to let it spoil it. It was great. Visually, it looked fantastic. McGann was fantastic. The outside of the TARDIS looked fantastic. The inside looked incredible. The fact that Mr. Siegel had brought it back and managed to do the impossible. I mean, my God, what a man, managing to do that.
Yeah.
I think that bit just made it seem socially acceptable to do what they started to do in 2005, right from the little innuendo comments with Eccleston's Doctor and Jackie Tyler in the episode Rose, right from that very point on. And it was just, it went to shit, didn't it, in the 21st century, but,
Well, as Stephen Moffat said, and we might cover this actually, he said the Doctor had hit puberty. I didn't like that comment at the time either. I have to be honest. I didn't want any of this, Ian. I'll be very honest, still don't. 1996, says you, Robert Payne, when the Radio Times was affordable. It was still quite expensive at the time, to be quite honest, but because it was still weekly. Real Geriatric, good to see it. That kiss is where the rot set in. Here, because nothing was ever the same again, as I said at the top of the show. Let's see who else we've got here as well. Hi, PVFS. Nice to see you. Thanks for all your comments there. Was it 1996 when Doctor Who won the Television Awards as Tiny Triumphs? We are coming to that in the show, so stay with us. It's all lined up for you. Mark Walker is saying platonic. I remember how Plato related to his students. We'll move on. And Third Doctor Andy is saying to us, the film is still better than anything from the last 15 years. Well, I'd agree with that one as well, Third Doctor Andy.
Yeah.
I've been watching the TV movie again for obvious reasons recently. And every time I watch it, I seem to think this is good. But again, I think, guys, it's because of what we've just been through over the last couple of years. I'm appreciating the Paul McGann one even more, just like I do some of the weaker stories of the original run,
Yeah.
Funky is saying to us now, the kiss was okay. Now, on the other hand, the half-human thing, that was the other thing at this point, wasn't it, that it was coming in. There was going to be this thing that they were doing, a Mr. Spock on the Doctor. And I just think it's very interesting, guys, that all these rumors that we were hearing about at the time were absolutely on the nail. Yeah. They were true. They were our greatest fears, and they were true. And I'm thinking, oh my God, who knew about this? Who was leaking things in the set?
Daily Star, probably.
Daily Star.
Yeah. But I remember hating the half-human thing. And then when it was first mentioned at the party, and it's like, oh, maybe it's a joke, the Doctor's got something to say, so we made something up. But then when it becomes kind of the crux of the opening of the Eye of Harmony later, it was a bit like, oh, I don't like it.
No. It doesn't make any sense either, to be honest, to open that Harmony. That why would the Time Lords have a human eye to open it? It's really stupid. It really is. Yeah.
Madness.
Yeah, and why was the Eye of Harmony in the TARDIS anyway? All these questions will not be answered anytime soon.
Anyway. Big Finish did a story, didn't they? And they retconned it as to why
they did.
As to why it's half-human eye or something.
It's to do with Evelyn Smythe. That's
Evelyn Smythe is the answer.
Yeah. Right, you've lost me there because I know nothing about that. So Radio Times
was 70 pence, says Funky. Big Finish also.
60 pence, says Funky. Thank you for that, Funks. Good of you.
Big Finish also did a story as to why, when the TARDIS materialised, the rubbish bins were arranged around in the order that they were, because they've really scraped the barrel at this point. Like, ridiculous.
Well, this is 1996. Everybody, don't forget. Big Finish wasn't even around at this particular point in time. It was all of us. It was all of us. And doing it the old-fashioned way. Lex, thank you for your super chat. Originally had planned the Doctor and Master to be brothers. Yes, which was an idea, of course, that had been floating around in Fandom forever. And then it was taken out. And whether Mr. Philip Siegel had anything to do with that, we're not sure. But it was taken out of the script. Thank goodness. Funky, hello, Virtual Baz. Nice to see you. And Funky is saying the leak was Jon Peel. Was it really? Allegedly, I'll put at that point now. Was it really? Where is Jon Peel these days? I hope he's well. Farsight is saying the on his mother's side was easily explained away as a joke. As for the half-human thing, who says it wasn't a ruse to fuel the master? In reality, what I get away with this as well is when I say that certain people from the modern series don't count, certain eras don't count, and all these people come back at me who are saying, oh no, but it's canon and it's this and this, and I'll just say, look up the Doctor being half human. It was never ever mentioned again. Anything can get retconned in this series, anything at any time, depending on who's in charge, and I love that. Absolutely love it. What else we got here? Yeah, Daniel Cox is saying that the TV movie was filmed in Vancouver. Yeah, Tiny Triumphs is saying the same thing. Absolutely. Rocking Terry Lee is saying that McGann is phenomenal on Big Finish audio. There you go. Yeah,
yes,
but that's for another show. That's for another show. And Real Geriatric is saying to us that kiss, half human Doctor, the Master, is literally a snake by the gods of Gallifrey. This movie is terrible.
I liked this. I really liked the snake.
Yeah. Did you as a kid? Did you?
Yes, I was quite into. I thought that was quite clever. You know, the Master's. It's the sort of thing the Master would do. Just turn into a snake to possess an ambulance man.
It's quite gruesome as well, isn't it? Especially when it goes down his throat.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Where his throat bulges.
Yeah.
His throat just bulges, doesn't it? And the eyes.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad visual effect as well, is it, to be honest?
Well, for 1996, and bearing in mind as well, that would have been the first time we'd ever seen these sorts of things in Doctor Who. It did look very good. I mean, that whole scene of the ambulance, as I was watching it the other day, the camera angle on the scene, it's very of the time.
Scuttles about in the ambulance, it's great, yeah.
And the camera scene and the way it's direct is very of the time. It was very X-Filesy, you know, it was in that mold, but it looks great. It looks really good. So, Graham's with us as well. He says, hello, everyone. Confess, I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, so I've just been lurking tonight. By the way, it's a big no to that kiss. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough, mate. Yeah.
But it wasn't afraid to be scary. That's the good thing about it as well. They tried to make it spooky and scary, which is great, you know?
Yeah, it was one of those things that the kiss thing has been held on into the modern series because when you look at it as well, what was happening in 1996 was very much the template for what was going to happen in the future, very much so. And there's an awful lot of stuff that's hangs on from this period from 1996 into 2004 into 2005. I didn't like the Doctor as half human, says Ezra Goldstein. It sounds like the producers, were trying to do a Star Trek feel to it. Yeah, I mean, you know, why do American producers always have to have something about the reveal of the character's father or make him half human or something like that?
They have an obsession. They have an obsession with American sci-fi of making half human, half insert alien species here in a series. They do it in a lot of things, and I don't think they can get away with it.
I think it's something to do with they reckon that the American public can't have an alien protagonist.
I have no idea. I might find out one day. I
will have read that somewhere.
It just makes it sound so derivative, doesn't it? It just feels like it's copying Star Trek, and it's not needed at all. You know?
But it also smacks to me, and it has done since this particular film, of talking down to an American audience, and they don't need to be talking down to at all. But, you know, I mean, it's as though Hollywood, also today, I would imagine, thinks that the public is stupid. But they weren't. But anyway,
it's like the cloaking device thing as well. Well, we'll get to that another time. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did Kissing Grace make him appear to be half human? Says Mordrin Brown Bread. I don't know. I think I was still in a state of shock hearing all this stuff.
Which half is the human half? I'd like to ask.
It was his left half. Yeah. And I love the snake, says Steve Braddock. It was a very scary scene. It was very well done, wasn't it, Steve? Very valuable.
Hashtag I love Snake.
Yeah. What else we got? Listen, we are talking about 1996, everyone. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the 8th Doctor, of course. And as I say, there was lots going on here in the UK in 1996. It was absolutely amazing. We had this wonderful piece here, everybody, from the Daily Mail on the 5th of March, 1996. Now Doctor Who is rocketed into orbit. Paul McGann, the actor who captured the prize role of Doctor Who in the new 6-film series of the legendary Time Lord, may have to walk away from the project at the end of his first £3 million movie. So this was not exactly what we wanted to hear in March 1996. The thing hasn't even got there onto television. And already they're starting to say, hang on a minute, this might not go to a series. I remember being really down about this headline. I really do.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of super chats. So before we go into that from the Daily Mail, let's have a look at these. Farsight, thank you for your super chat. JT, the eye is a link to the eye on Gallifrey. Remember the dying days. I do remember the dying days.
They tried to explain that, didn't they? Yeah.
They tried to explain it, the dying days. You know what? I remember being on a plane, Farsight, going to meetings between Glasgow and London, and I read the dying days on the way down, and then I finished it on the way back. I will always remember that little. I sat next to the rear gunner because it was such an old plane, and so funny from Liverpool, from London City to Glasgow. That was. Oh God, I wonder if they still do that. Funky, thank you for your super chat. Half Human Thing was a hangover from the Leaky Pot. Oh, you see.
All right.
That's another show, Funky, and it's all coming up for you as part of our Wilderness Years series. So you're gonna love that. Stevie and Jeannie Frith is also saying that the half-human thing was a leftover from John Leakley's version. The Master would take over Gallifrey with the Daleks, and the Doctor would go on a quest to find his father Ulysses. It still makes me laugh to this very day.
It's that convoluted, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, it sounds like
Just a
Indiana
touch.
Jones' Last Crusade.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. Does nobody have anything original? And now we can prove that to be a big fat no, they don't, because they keep bringing things back. But let's get back to that story, everybody. Thank you for your super chats there, everybody. So this is this one from the Daily Mail, Friday, March the 5th, 1996, page 41. I've actually written on this. There you go. A series of creative differences with executives on the production shooting in Vancouver has raised a question mark over McGann's future as the galactic hero. Producers on the joint BBC Worldwide Universal Television programme originally planned to film the further 5 Doctor Who adventures with Paul McGann, but I am told they may now wish to pursue other actors to play the role. McGann and his co-star Eric Roberts, brother of movie star Julia, have had a high old time while on location in Canada, enjoying the many local recreational facilities. But on set, there have been some heated discussions over McGann's interpretation of the Good Doctor. Some members of the cast and crew are said to have been surprised at times by McGann's behaviour on location. Several years ago, McGann had a bright and brilliant career and got the pick of the plum roles. He starred in Alan Bleasdale's controversial TV series The Monocle Mutineer and soon became the actor everybody wanted in their projects. Many considered that his best work was done in the cult movie With Nail and I. But 2 years ago, there were problems when he was replaced by Sean Bean in the successful Sharps Rifles action series. The reason given at the time was that McGann had hurt his knee while playing football. The new Doctor Who, in which he co-stars with Daphne Ashbrook as his assistant Grace Holloway, will be broadcast first on American television, but viewers in Britain will be able to acquire a video well before it's transmitted on BBC television. A spokesperson for BBC Enterprises, bless it, which it's co-producing the 90-minute Doctor Who film with MCA Universal in America, commented, "I think someone has been exaggerating. I can't think who has been talking about Paul in this way because it was one of the smoothest productions to work on and all the scenes were completed on time. At the moment, this is a one-off and the decision to make more will be made once we have seen how this film does." And what I took from that, with this being March, is, they finished already. That was quick.
Yeah.
A quick shoot. What's that now? January to March? Good God.
I'd never heard that before. I don't remember hearing it at the time or since then about them making a series of movies. I always thought it was going to be a pilot for a TV series. That's always been my understanding of it. So that's new to me. So
I remember at the time, Paul, and after it as well, right up till around about 2001, 2002, that there was talk in Doctor Who fandoms that would have been TV movie one. It was a pilot, but the series would have consisted of 3 or 4 TV movie styles a year.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that. That's interesting.
And McGann was under the impression that he could be in Vancouver for 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know. There were so many different things going around at the time. I reckon the BBC would have said, no, we'll have a series because that works better for the BBC.
Yeah.
And also there was not an email, a letter, a good old-fashioned letter from executive producer Philip Segal, Segal, to the BBC in 1989, saying that his preference was also for 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
I reckon he would have pushed for that even at this particular point, wrapping up this TV movie and going, thank God I got through that. Because it must have been hell for him, quite honestly, Who viewers.
Yeah, it took him a long time to get off the ground. It's lucky it's as good as it is, to be honest. It really is, you know.
Bloody
so
hell,
McGann was awkward. Yeah. McGann was awkward because he was playing football and hurt his knee. The bastard.
No. That, not on Doctor Who. That was when he did Sharp Rifles.
Yeah, but he's got his reputation as a result of that. It's just crazy.
I'd actually broke his leg out. That's why, and he got replaced by Sean Bean because he'd broken his leg, and they had to start filming him almost immediately, and they couldn't postpone it. You know, so. Yeah.
Lex, thank you for your super chat. Master Infected Eyes was an Easter egg to McCoy's last full Doctor Who story. Plus, the Eye of Harmony came back in Matt Smith's final season of Doctor Who. Did it?
It's in Johnny to the Centre of the TARDIS, yeah, I think, as well, I remember, yeah.
I've forgotten that completely.
It's rubbish, though, to be fair.
That's probably why I've forgotten it. I don't retain crap in my memory, do I? No. That's why I don't remember much of the modern Who. Sorry, everybody, but only saying what I think. Let's get into the chat, guys. Dirty Davros is saying, thoughts on the Doctor's new ability in giving warnings to people? Was he being a psych about a person's future, or was he seeing each person's timeline? I think they were just trying to push this fact that the Doctor was a time traveler, personally.
And he'd seen everything, kind of thing. That's what suggested, didn't it? Yeah.
Stevie and Jeannie Frith, McGann looked Edwardian and Baronesque and dashing, but he hated the wig. He did. He often talks about the wig. He cut his hair for another role, and Segal was not pleased, so a wig was made. That's absolutely it. That's the story. That's the one we all know and love. And McGann is quite happy to go with it.
It's a great look for him. It really suits it. It really does. Yeah.
He does.
I think he does. Yeah. I think he looks fantastic. And it was great to see all these pictures that were coming out, including that one there, because again, it was just another look at our new Doctor. It was a very exciting time.
But at the time, there was a load of science fiction magazines, because I would, I'd earn my 15 quid a week or whatever, and I'd spunk most of that on magazines. And you'd have like Starburst and Starlog, and you'd have Doctor Who magazine. I'd buy SFX, and there just seemed to be so many, and you'd buy them because they all had Paul McGann on the cover in a slightly different picture.
It's true.
So it's absolutely I'd buy hundreds of them.
It's true.
He actually showed one of my favourite ones, JT, in the Doctor Who magazine. I think one was the one with McCoy and handing the key over to McGann in front of the TARDIS. That's a wonderful picture. It's a bit pretentious, but I like it, It
is, it's fair enough. As I say, Doctor Who magazine, Doctor Who Monthly was the mainstay for us. There was a lot of stuff, as Phil says, that was going around it, but Doctor Who magazine was the one, as they let us know, that was going to have the exclusive, because they were going to be there and around on the set. They were the official Doctor Who magazine. They knew. It was actually in the May 1996 edition where this came through. BBC One to broadcast new TV movie in May. Now, we have to remember that the magazine is, to this very day, of course, it goes to press, well after any sort of event. These days, of course, you get shows like ours, which will update you with news and views and stuff like that. Well, Doctor Who magazine, sadly, has to come out a month later from the rest of the news, or a couple of months later. So this is the May edition, which will have come out in April. And it's saying here that the US and UK transmission dates for the new Doctor Who TV movie starring Paul McGann as the Doctor remain unfixed at the time of going to press, which is the 13th of March. But a likely timetable is beginning to emerge. It is understood that the film, accepted by the Fox network in the States for its Tuesday night movie slot, will be broadcast on the evening of the 14th of May. Transmission was originally scheduled 1 week earlier, but a number of factors have dictated its rescheduling, most pertaining to other productions being prepared for the same feature strand. Ratings for this broadcast will be available the following day and will dictate to a large degree the future development or otherwise of a Doctor Who television series. In an unexpected move, the UK transmission has been moved forward to a number of months. BBC One stated in January that an early broadcast would be unlikely, and that no suitable slot would be available until the autumn season. However, A BBC source has informed Doctor Who magazine that Alan Yentob, the controller of BBC One, has viewed early unedited footage from the production and has been very impressed. It now appears that the UK transmission will take place over Whitsuntide Bank Holiday weekend, which is Saturday 25th to Monday the 27th of May. The final transmission date and time will be partially dictated by such fixed schedule furniture as Saturday's The National Lottery Live and the Monday night EastEnders. A detailed announcement and major press launch for the film is expected at the BBC New Season press conference on the 23rd of March. We asked former Doctor Who producer John Nathan Turner for his expert opinion on the bank holiday time slot. It's something of a risk and a gamble against the weather, he told us. If it's hot and sunny, then the key family audience will all be away at the seaside or in the country and disinclined, he says, to turn the TV on. On the other hand, if it's cold and wet, then the mums and dads will stay at home and the ratings might be very good. Of course, the exact slot and ITV's choice of competition will always be critical. Presumably, the transmission is early in order to assess the demand for a second film or series as soon as possible. It would be difficult to have a series ready for next year, 1997, if the pilot isn't screened until Christmas. Whenever it is shown, says John, I'm greatly looking forward to watching it. BBC Video has scheduled the UK home video release of the film for the same week as the US transmission, but it seems unlikely that the cassette will be available before the US premiere. However, BBC Video is understandably keen to have the video on sale before pirated off-air NTSC recordings of the film reach Britain from America, so the 15th of May appears to be the most probable release date. The cassette will have a photographic cover and feature the new Doctor Who logo shown above, which is clearly based upon the one designed by Bernard Lodge and used in the title sequence of the first 4 seasons of Jon Pertwee's tenure as the Doctor. In an exciting development, BBC Video has generously organised a special preview screening of the film due to take place at a central London cinema on the 13th of May. If the US transmission remains fixed at the 14th of May, then this one-off big screen showing before a lucky group of 200 fans will therefore become the film's world premiere. For your chance to attend as a guest of BBC Video and Doctor Who magazine, then see our special competition. And I love that. They actually did the competition, as you can see there on the right-hand side of the page. So if you were there, if you won the Doctor Who magazine competition and you are watching us now, let us know in the chat. If you're watching this on a playback and you were there, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you, because I remember sending off about 3 postcards.
So
I wonder, sorry.
Go on.
Sorry.
No,
I wonder what it was opposite on ITV. It wasn't Coronation Street again, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, I can't remember, but I think I've got it in the slides coming up.
Oh, okay.
But I was excited by that particular point with that particular edition of Doctor Who magazine, because we got to see what logo they were going with. And at that point, I hadn't thought about it, but there it is, and it's beautiful, glowing blue glory, everybody. I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. I thought, yeah, okay, they've taken a recognizable logo. It was going to look good on any merchandise, as it was proved. And I was thrilled. I was like, oh my God, they're honoring the past. This is nice. This is some of the best news we've had about this film, apart from the casting of McGann.
That does tally then, because if it was shown in America and then released on video the next day, it was shown on a Tuesday. So the video was released on a Wednesday when I was going to watch it with my mate. But they said there that it was delayed by a week to the 14th. So that is what I remember. Do you remember it was originally and then it was delayed for a week and Wednesday to so it all fits now.
All fits.
I can see that.
It's no wonder we're all getting sort of mixed with things, because it's all time ago. As I said previously in the show, one of the classiest things, apart from Doctor Who magazine, of course, of the day, was the Radio Times. And who remembers this?
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, the first. About the cloister room, that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Gorgeous.
This was so exciting for all of us. This was from the Radio Times, dated the 16th to the 22nd of March, 1996, inside the TARDIS. As Paul McGann gets into his role as the new Doctor Who, Alison Graham, who followed the series for years, didn't she, guys, joins him on location in Vancouver. And I just remember seeing that and going, you are bloody kidding me. That's the TARDIS? Yeah. I was like, my God, what? I couldn't believe it. I don't know what your reactions were, guys.
Well, I thought it looked amazing, incredible, you know. And I wasn't sure. Did it tell you in the article this is the cloister room, or I can't remember if it told you that or not?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it absolutely does. Yeah. And this was from the one that we've mentioned before. This was from the X-Files Doctor Who cover. So this is, again, as we can see there, March. I mean, this was fantastic because this was BBC Enterprises, who had a real hand in Radio Times at that point, if you remember. This was them for the first time marketing Doctor Who in a way that is still done today. They were building it up, you know, and I'm wondering if it was the case of because they were working with the American experts on marketing as well, you know. I've said this to various people that I've known back in the past. Do you think that they thought, well, probably, probably. But it was very much a case of they really went to town in the UK promoting Paul McGann as the new Doctor Who. There's a movie coming. We've invested money in this. They really wanted that success and return, and it paid off for them, as we all know. But it wasn't as big. The marketing wasn't as big the other way around over there. They weren't doing that much for it, which is a shame, really. Maybe if they'd actually followed the BBC's template, it might.
I don't know. Is between 3 and 5 million a lot for American TV at the time? I mean, it is for the BBC.
Yeah, well, it was massive.
It would be in America.
Well, it depended on the pilot because each pilot was different. I remember this was part of the then famous Tuesday night pilot season.
Yeah.
So each one would have been different depending on where it was. But from our point of view, of course, as Doctor Who, this was the most money that had ever been spent on the Doctor ever. Yeah,
but that's what I mean. Like for us, it's a big deal. But maybe for American TV, I'm speculating wildly about things I don't really know. But maybe the 3 to 5 million, whatever it was, isn't a lot for them. So they didn't.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't a lot. It was a significant investment. Yeah, but it wasn't a lot. They were doing millions and millions of dollars worth on other stuff, weren't they?
Yeah, but so it's less of an event for them. Whereas for us, it's like, crikey, we've spent all of this.
Yeah, I mean, from their point of view, I'm sure there were people on the production set going, "Oh God, we could do with some more money." You know, for what they
McGann, can you lend us a bit?
But I reckon.
Well, the budget kept changing, as it kept saying in the press. They probably didn't know they're coming or going. How much is it this week? You know?
Yeah. Also from the Radio Times, we're going to go back a little bit to February, where we had this little clip again introducing the Doctor, or reintroducing the Doctor to the public of the United Kingdom. Who's who? It's Paul McGann, currently filming a feature-length Doctor Who for BBC One in Canada with American actors Eric Roberts, brother of Julia, they always have to get that in, as the Master, and Daphne Ashbrook as the Doctor's companion. The Doctor is played by Sylvester McCoy before being regenerated as McGann, who has to save humanity before being exterminated by ... And that was from the Radio Times, 3rd to the 9th of February 1996. So again, it was just another example of them actually, you know, doing this and actually, you know, just planning this whole thing.
I'm actually glad they did put Eric Roberts, the brother of Julia Roberts, because you probably thought, who's Eric Roberts? Who's he? Never heard of him. You know?
Well, we didn't know about him in Britain. Eric Roberts. So they must. That's why they've had to do it. They've had to put the brother of Julia, because Julia was a massive hit. I imagine in America they knew of Eric Roberts.
Hasn't he got like the most credits on IMDb or something? I think he's
got a lot. He's got a lot. I think for this he had a contract with Universal for 5 of these TV films, and this Doctor Who was one of them. So he was under contract with them anyway, but he's got loads of credits. Yeah,
he's in there in the Batman Christian Bale one, isn't he? The one with the Joker, which he's brilliant in that as a gangster. He's really good in that. Yeah,
I like that film, actually. I love it when they take Batman seriously. None of all this campery with all the other stuff, you know. Great film. McGann movie.
And then he's in the Human Centipede, and we won't go there.
I don't know what that one is. Funky is saying the McGann movie was up against an ITV show called Bramwell. That rings a vague bell. Starring a certain Ms. Redgrave before she started aiming guns at litterers. Was she in that, really? She must have been.
Yeah, she was the star of it. I think she was the nurse, I think.
Was she?
Surgeon, whatever, yeah.
Was that a period thing?
Yes, it was. A period hospital drama type thing, yeah.
Never saw it. Thank you for that, Funky. And Rocking Terry Lee saying to us, I did enjoy the logo and the theme tune. Oh, really? Even though I was 12, I did think the theme was a little Star Trek Next Generation. I hated that version of the theme tune.
I hated the theme. I hate the fact it doesn't start in the right place. And it's all... I hate it.
I think it's better than most of my Goals output, I have to say, though. Yeah.
Ezra Goldstein, I didn't like the TARDIS interiors. It was too Jules Verne for my taste. And Stevie and Ginny Frith, the sets and the music are undeniably fantastic. Can we have this TARDIS back? Well, yeah. Gavin Graham is saying, poor lit Rondels, never appreciated in his own lifetime. Oh, brilliant. John Roberts also saying that the interior of the TARDIS was a little too steampunk for me. Yeah, there's a story that, of course, the biggest fan of the TARDIS at the point was Sylvester McCoy, who, when he works on the set with his new outfit that they've given him, said, allegedly, I've come home.
Yeah.
Very sweet there, but not for long. And he always goes on about, yeah, McGann nicked it from me.
I do remember him saying, though, that one of the switches came off in his hand at one point, and you can see it in the take that snaps off at one point. Yeah.
I love all that. Some things never change. Julianne Goodman saying to us, for me, that is a top TARDIS interior, second only to the traditional roundels, better than any of the 2005 onwards eras. And yet the continuity is there. All the TARDISes since have reached between, as far as I'm aware, I'm not talking about Whittaker because I know that's wrong now, thinking about it. But that glass column has always gone and reached the ceiling now, hasn't it?
Yeah, Jodie's doesn't, which makes it even worse, to be fair. Yeah.
Looks like a great.
It's not really a column with Jodie, is it? It's
Dirty Davros is saying to us, rumours were behind the scenes politics was intense. The BBC and Fox had different goals. BBC wanted to protect the brand and Fox wanted to create a US hit, which leads me on to somebody else that was not impressed with what he was hearing. And that, of course, was Mr. Jon Pertwee. He was around at the time, of course, doing various conventions. And we heard from the various convention circuits that Mr. Pertwee had heard. And he was very happy to talk about the rumours that he was hearing from his show business pals. One of those rumours was that Mr. Eric Roberts was allegedly being a bit of a diva, that Paul McGann wasn't happy. And John would sit there and tell the world. And it was very, very bizarre. It was very bizarre what was happening here. But he was so... I got the feeling he wasn't approving of this new Doctor Who. Now, we all know that sadly he never got to see it, but it's interesting that he was aware of its conception. He was aware that it was coming along. He was aware that it was filming, but he was also aware of all these tales he was very happy to tell us all about.
I'd buy a DVD of Jon Pertwee bitching about the TV movie.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I'd pay good money for that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what he would have made it? God bless him.
As long as he had some cocktail snacks or whatever they were.
Some crickets,
Some Tabasco flavoured crickets, I'd buy the bloody box set of that. Steel book.
As long as it came with crickets as well, Ian, that'd be quite good if it did,
so memo to Anton Deck. Jon Pertwee got there years before you did, loves. All right.
Oh, yeah.
If he'd known, he would have made a series out of that to try and get the money in, wouldn't he? God love him. For those of us who met him, you know what I mean. He was a gentleman. He was lovely, but he did like his money. Nothing wrong with that, of course. I want to take you to this particular point now we're talking about John, because this was from the Radio Times, 27th of January to the 2nd of February 1996 edition. What programs do you try not to miss? The Radio Times asked him. And he replies, keeping up appearances. Half of it is desperately funny. I like Mrs. Bucket, i.e. Mrs. Bouquet, and her husband, but Onslow's side is too over the top. What makes you switch off? Things like The Word, which was a disgrace. At least it's finished now. What program would you like to make? The sort of programs that I used to have a hand in, like Wurzel Gummidge. I like family programs, and I've always gone for them. Would you make a Doctor Who? No, that's science fiction, and I'm not a great buff, although I worked in it for years. I used to like the early sci-fi films because nobody has seen anything like it at the time, and I love E.T. Do you miss the character of Doctor Who? Not at all, because I'm still involved with it, attending conferences all over the world. And there's a young man writing my new biography, which of course will involve Doctor Who. Which monster did you find the least convincing? The Daleks. Tennis balls stuck all over them and sink plungers and egg whisks. I didn't think they were very alarming, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Was it difficult acting alongside men in rubber suits? I was in abject hysteria on occasion, says John. I remember when the stuntmen playing the Sea Devils were told to disappear under the sea, count to 5, then surface. They emerged with angry faces while their Sea Devil heads, lifted off by the sea, floated away. How easy was it to relive the character for radio? Incredibly so. When I returned to do the Five Doctors a number of years after leaving the show, Liz Sladen and I were frightened that we wouldn't know what to do. But within 30 seconds, we were back in. It was instinctive. Did Doctor Who deserve to be dropped from TV? Probably. It had gone on a very long time. My late director on Wurzel Gummidge, James Hill, there's a name, once said, it's very easy to be silly, but it's terribly difficult to be funny. That's so true. To me, Doctor Who got a bit silly towards the end. This was John doing a little bit of piece from the Radio Times to promote something called The Ghosts of N-Space, which we will be reviewing here on the channel in the future. It's all geared up. We're also going to be doing the Paradise of Death, so stay with us. It's all going to be there for you. All right, so we have to get onto it now. And this is the part of the show where we do have to acknowledge that 1996 was the year that we did lose our beloved Jon Pertwee. And what a bloody shock that was to all of us. As we said in the chat earlier, we all thought he was going to live forever and certainly outlive all of us. His passing not only came as a shock to Doctor Who fandom, but to the great British public, with piles, gentlemen, of articles in practically every paper going. From, again, the Daily Record there on the left, on Tuesday, May the 21st, 1996, Doctor Who fought a sink plunger and tennis balls. Doctor Who star Jon Pertwee, who has died, aged 76, became a hero fighting aliens made of sink plungers, whisks, and tennis balls. The Daleks may have been piles of junk, but Pertwee helped bring them alive, winning the show millions of fans. Then after 5 years in the TARDIS, he moved to the country for a decade as the Scarecrow, Wurzel Gummidge. The two roles made Pertwee one of Britain's best-loved actors, and his sudden death from a heart attack at 4 a.m. yesterday while on holiday with his wife in Connecticut, the USA, has stunned his friends. Former Doctor Colin Baker said John was a man of such presence and stature. Sylvester McCoy added, one of the joys of going to Doctor Who conventions was knowing he'd be there. John would have me crying with laughter and at his tales. He was like a man of 30 when surrounded by young people. Wurzel Gummidge star Eunice Stubbs said, I am absolutely shocked and saddened. Pertwee, who had no history of illness, died in his sleep with German-born second wife Ingeborg at his side. He was born into a London theatrical family in 1919 and entered the posh Royal Academy of the Dramatic Arts in the 30s. But the principal said he had no talent and was eventually thrown out, some say for writing rude words on the loo wall. He slaved away in his small plays before his big break came in radio comedy The Navy Lark, which ran for 20 years and made him a star. He replaced Patrick Troughton as the Doctor in 1970, turning the Time Lord into a velvet-clad dandy and playing the role until 1974. Yeah, so that was one. There were these particular pieces as well. As you can see, this is from the Times and the Telegraph. Full page spreads, gentlemen.
Deserved.
Pertwee.
Well, he was a British icon, wasn't he? Let's be honest. He was such an icon of showbiz, not just Doctor Who and Wurzel Gummidge, but he'd been around for so long. He was such an iconic figure, wasn't he?
He blooming was. I mean, yeah. I mean, if John crept up on television at any time, well, you just expected it, to be honest, didn't you?
Yeah.
This was also around from the time as well. This was a nice top of the page article here, which tied in with a further page article as an obituary. The world of Doctor Who mourns Jon Pertwee. They were just the newspapers I got from here in the United Kingdom, but I did get this as well, gentlemen, from a friend of mine that lived in Canada, from the Toronto Sun on the 21st of May. Doctor Who's Jon Pertwee dies at 76. So this was worldwide news, everybody. This was just intense, wasn't it? Of course, Doctor Who magazine also paid tribute with a special edition with John on the cover and a lovely tribute there. And they first covered it in July 1996 issue.
It's like Tom Baker said, though, isn't it, when he was describing him, I think, on Who's Doctor Who 76 documentary. He said he was like a light bulb. He kind of glitters. Yeah, Paul, you got it.
Yeah,
and
glitters,
that was true. You could be in a room of hundreds of people and you would know when Pertwee walked in. Yeah. He had that gravity, just drew your eyes to him. You couldn't help it. He was, whether you liked him or not, you noted Jon Pertwee walking into a room. And when he started talking, he just had people like that. And Tom Baker can do that as well. He can walk into a room, he's got you. But Pertwee, my God, just, yeah.
Well, he's one man show that he talked about in the article that the GT read earlier. That one man show he's doing. It's great to listen to on audio. It's superb, and he's such a raconteur, such a storyteller, really entertaining man. You know. And if you look on YouTube as well, there's lots of American convention footage on YouTube with him and Troughton together, and it's wonderful. So I recommend you try and find some of that on YouTube as well. It's really good.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing your memories of this real low of 1996. Just as we were about to welcome the 8th Doctor, we lost our 3rd. The timing was just incredible because this was, of course, the big month. The TV movie did run a credit and dedicated the episode to Jon. And respectfully, this particular episode of Whose Views that you would have seen at the top of the show is also for Jon. Derek Hart is sharing his memory of, I met Jon the first time in Glasgow at the Ultimate Adventure. I met him in a number of conventions and shops. He was a star, wasn't he, Derek? He was a charmer. He told me off at a convention with a disabled person whilst doing crowds. I had to later apologize to the guy. Yeah, he was very honest man as well, wasn't he? I remember him actually telling certain fans off for certain things that he didn't appreciate as well. He wasn't frightened of us. And I think we admired him more for that, you know, because he was a giant. He was an absolute... He was so confident, Jon Pertwee. He was just incredible. Real Geriatric is saying he was my introduction to Doctor Who. What a gent.
Yeah.
Well, he opened the proceedings at Longley, didn't he? And he wasn't even the previous Doctor. He was the one before that at that point. And Davison was really popular. But he was the one that came out and opened all the proceedings in that tent at Longley in '83.
Yeah.
It was Pertwee.
The showman. You know, yeah, it was great actually. You know, because you know the whole thing about Jon and Tom was the warmth that they had from an entire generation. You know, the whole 70s and early 80s kids who were discovering it, and then another generation came along because of the videos. So that's the beauty of Doctor Who, isn't it? It was incredible, and I still can't believe that here we are 30 years later talking about this, and that's the power of Doctor Who because we remember the people in the show. And it's beautiful. As a community, they're always with us. And that's amazing as well, isn't it? 30 years later. And, you know, the other day I was watching The Green Death. He's just brilliant. Tiny Trams is saying this is very true. He was very charismatic. Dirty Davros, he truly was larger than life personality. Legion of James saying to us that Tom was the first Doctor I saw, but Jon is my personal favourite Doctor. And more and more coming back. I mean, a lot of his shows now on You and Eden here in the UK. Wonderful.
I think he's like a film star, Jon Pertwee, in the same sort of way like John Wayne. That kind of, it's a real charisma, highly watchable actor, and just your eyes are drawn to him when you see him in anything. You know, even as a little cameo and Carry On, whatever, he's still highly watchable. You know what I mean? So
he is,
or
isn't
the
he?
Boys in Blue.
Yeah. Or Boys in Blue. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
That's Cannon and
That's
Ball.
the Cannon and Ball vehicle.
Thing. Of course I do. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Oh, dear. Darren Reed's got a lovely memory here. I always laugh when I think of Jon telling my mum off for taking so long to get a picture of us together at Longleat in 1983. Hurry up, missus. I've got a bad back. Oh, brilliant. Third Doctor Andy sharing with us that when I was 6, I saw Jon's Doctor, and he's always been my favourite and always will be. Good for you. Good for you, Dr. Andy. Who's that?
That's not
someone
my
else is a
Doctor,
fan,
Ty.
obviously. Clearly.
That's Albert's dreaming, I'm afraid. He's dreaming of his favourite Jon Pertwee programme.
Yeah, or sausages, one of the two. And Stephen O'Neill saying to us that quite rightly, in the months following his passing, The Green Death was highlighted by BBC Video as a key tribute release, but the BBC never broadcast one of his stories as a tribute. Shame on the BBC. Now, that was actually at this particular point when we lost Jon. As we are fans, we were immediately, of course, went into mourning because it hit. It was, you know, as every passing of a Doctor Who star does, but it hit because we were so joyous at this particular point. Do you remember, guys? It was just also excited. We're excited. We were gearing up. Yeah. It was a unique time. We'd been waiting 7 years for this, and it was a real unique time. And then we lose our Doctor, and it was just like a slap in the face, wasn't it? What?
It's kind of typical Jon Pertwee to upstage somebody, you know what I mean?
Actually, yeah, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it was incredible. But as fans, we then started to think there's going to have to be some sort of tribute to Pertwee on the BBC, and there wasn't. And the reason being is they were focused on gearing up to the 1996 TV movie, and they didn't feel appropriate. That's why The Green Death came out on video, so I'm led to believe. We're going to be talking more about that particular video in the show. Thank you, Lex. Cheers. And Funky saying that one of my biggest regrets is that Pertwee never got to record a commentary for the DVDs. Can you imagine how funny it would have been? Easily. Yeah. It would have been sort of saying things like, did she really do it like that? Wouldn't she? Oh God. He was a giant, everybody. And it was a loss.
Could you imagine a sofa commentary of the three Doctors with him and Trout?
Yeah.
Could you?
Well, imagine if there's all three of them could have done it. That would be wonderful. You know.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. I can guarantee you that had he lived, he would have continued on with the conventions, and he would have made his opinions on the television movie known. So, you know, bless him. But May was a rough month, everybody, wasn't it? And wow. Wow, I don't know what to say.
And we got Ghost of N-Space this year as well, which didn't help. Yeah.
No, it didn't help at all. But again, yeah, gosh, that's all to come. All to come, everyone. Around about this time, he says, moving on now. God bless you, John. Cheers.
Yeah, God bless you.
Yeah.
It was around about this time that this appeared. From Panini, who are, of course, publishing Doctor Who magazine, this was a spin-off. This was its own little special, the Doctor Who movie special. Anyone remember this?
I do. I used to have. I don't have any more, sadly, but I did buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's still got the Marvel Comics logo there on the top right. Can you see that? Now, this was intentionally designed with its $1.99 price as well at a very young audience. But of course, we all went and trooped off and bought it. Secrets of the TARDIS reveal, free massive Paul McGann poster, countdown to the end of the world, as you can see there, and a massive big competition where you can win books, videos, and watches.
It's like that kids comic Doctor Who Adventures, isn't it? Almost like that kind of thing. You know,
I was just about to say that. I mean, Doctor Who Adventures, which came later on, of course, in 2006. I think they stole the format from the Doctor Who movie TV special thing there, because this was definitely for a juvenile audience. It had child-friendly words, child-friendly approaches. If you were under the age of 10, you must have loved this. You must have loved it. And it just introduced the Doctor to what they were hoping was going to be a new audience. And I just wonder if this thing had gone to series, would they have introduced something like the Doctor Who Adventures all those years earlier? Would Doctor Who magazine have got a spin-off for the younger audience as well as the magazine itself? We'll never know, will we?
I was thinking there was a poster magazine, but am I thinking of this?
Yes.
Because there was this thing, wasn't there, where you'd get a magazine and the whole thing would open up to a big poster.
There was a couple in the
poster of
70s
McGann standing in the doorway of the TARDIS with the TARDIS doors behind him inside the TARDIS. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I remember I bought it and I wouldn't have put it on my wall because I wouldn't have wanted to get blue tack marks on it.
It was probably this, to be honest.
Maybe.
Yeah, because that folded out to a big picture of Paul McGann. I've got it upstairs, but I couldn't get it, so I can't tell you what poster was in it.
I'll drive up and go up your loft and have a look.
But that was the start of it. What also was starting as well was other places were getting interested in the Doctor Who movie. This was from broadcasts on the 19th of April, 1996, which was actually a very imprecise thing about BBC Enterprises and the sales picture of the worldwide brief for the global team. They deliberately used a picture of Paul McGann from the publicity stills because BBC Worldwide had let the industry know that, of course, Doctor Who was coming back. They had invested in it. It was going to be a big, big drama for them. They had American partners with it, and they were really hoping to be able to sell it globally and do great business from it. So it was everywhere. That's my point. Doctor Who was everywhere, every age, every profession here in the UK knew that Doctor Who was coming back in May. It was just incredible, really, wasn't it? Absolutely fantastic.
And that picture with the candle, I think I said it on the previous show, is fantastic. And recreating that picture of Hartnell and Marco Polo with the TARDIS. It's got a wonderful kind of homage to that. It's really, really, really cool,
Yeah.
I think.
It is. It's really cool. I hope you're enjoying our show here for the Wilderness Years 1996, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for this walk down memory lane. 30 years of the Paul McGann Doctor. Wow. Who'd have thought that? Well, we all did, actually, because it was one of those things that we all know about, isn't it? And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here on Whose Views, yes, your favorite channel, we are going to be dedicating May to 8 at 30. We're going to be doing a series of shows celebrating the 8th Doctor as he turns 30 years old. Or is it 790? Whoever, I don't know. Shall we show them what's coming up, some of the stuff that's coming up in the future, guys, in May? Should we show them a little trailer?
Oh, go on. Why not?
I'm very excited about this because at this point I want to say a huge thank you to Miles D and Becky and Aidan over at Wildstar Records, because we're just about to show you our brand new 8th Doctor theme. Now, this is the theme that Miles D and the gang have put together exclusively for you and for us here at Whose Views. This is the music, the title music, that will accompany all our 8th Doctor related shows from this moment on. This is what we've got coming up for you to celebrate the 30th anniversary of McGann Doctor this May. May 2026 coming up for you soon here on the channel. Again, a huge thank you to Miles D and the gang for that fantastic theme tune. I am thrilled with it. So thank you, guys. There we go. Another exclusive for us here at Whose Views. That is going to be dropped, of course, on the channel very soon, as are all the shows coming up in May. So make sure you're subscribed. If you've already subscribed to us, make sure you're still subscribed and come and join us for our live stream shows based around the 8th Doctor. I am so excited about what's coming.
The graphics look fabulous as well. Really.
They do. They look amazing. Absolutely amazing. It sounds amazing and everything.
So let's have a look and see what you're all saying in the chat about this. Yes, Funky is saying, remember to like and hype, because I do love a hype, don't I, Funky? Yes,
I hyped the other day, and I am now younger, faster, and more virile than ever. And I can only attribute it to that.
So you're recommending it to everyone to try? Yeah,
I recommend to everyone. Yeah.
Keith Burton saying to us, so you're making it Paul McGann? Yes, we are. Our
very good.
Very, very good. Our 8 at 30 series for Paul McGann. You're absolutely right. And I hope you can join us, Keith. We haven't finished yet, Dirty Davros. We've got a lot more to come because we're only just getting into May 1996. Daniel Cox is saying that's an amazing theme. And now I get, says Robert Payne, what 8:30 meant. I thought it was a time slot and nice music. Yeah, you see, there's method in my madness, Robert. I can tell you, honestly. Keith Burton is Funky is saying, Keith Burton, naughty corner for you. Yes, don't forget, if you get put in the corner, you might as well buy yourself a lovely mug, t-shirt or hat while you're there. John Roberts is saying, great theme, better than the film itself. Cool theme, says Steve Braddock. Itagishi is saying, oh, wonderful. Thank you. Ezra is saying to us, oh, great theme tune. Julianne is giving us a round of applause. And Derek Hart is saying, wow, wow, wow. That's a Kylie tune. I love the theme and credits. Sorry, from the 9th. Fantastic. Yeah, the 9th. Who's he? We haven't got there, have we? The future is so bright. I've got to wear shades, says Moriarty. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like that, everybody, because I'm excited about May. We've got a lot coming up, as you can see. And there's more. all coming up for you. Don't forget to keep an eye on the show page here on the channel. All the shows will be loaded up for you with the dates. So we've got to May 1996, of course. We've just said goodbye to our beloved third Doctor, and we are now about to welcome the eighth. And for the first time in the Doctor's history, he gets a cover on the TV Times, which, of course, was the TV listings mainly for ITV. But by this point, of course, they were able to cover all the channels. So this is it. So this is the TV Times.
I thought this was momentous. I couldn't believe the TV Times had done a Doctor Who cover. I was really surprised when it came out, weren't you? I thought, my God, they're covering Doctor Who. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And they had a feature in it. I mean, it was one of these things because we'd never seen that before, and it was Paul McGann that got to be on the cover of the TV Times as well as everything else. Apparently, there were problems with this TV Times. I don't know if it's true. Some of you in the chat might, but apparently the distribution was off or something like that. So some of the country didn't get it. I don't know if that's true or not. Paul McGann also was on the cover of TV and Satellite Week for this particular week with that really spooky X-Files type picture. Paul McGann is the new Time Lord in Doctor Who. So this was another player that had, of course, joined the ranks here in the UK, wasn't it? TV and Satellite Week still going today.
Is it?
Yeah, it's morphed into something else. It's called something else now, but it's the same stuff. But yeah, look at that. I mean, it's just 72 channels, 300 movies, 80% of sport. Gosh, that's what it was all about.
All repeats, yeah.
Includes cable.
That was it mainly at the time, wasn't it? That was the big three, because the third one, of course, was Radio Times.
Yeah.
And who can forget the excitement that the Radio Times had with the now iconic cover?
Yeah.
It's time to return. Doctor Who, the movie, Spring Bank Holiday Monday, BBC One. And of course, this was a must-have for all of us. I think we all went out to buy this particular cover of the Radio Times. 72 pence, as you can see there on the cover, everybody. Amazing. But it also came with this little thing, didn't it? The Return of the Time Lord, which was a 16-page pull-out souvenir, which basically was, again, a reintroduction to the Doctor because it went through his previous lives, didn't it? Went through the previous 7 Doctors, the companions, some of the monsters.
Yeah.
You remember? Went through all that.
And some of the guest stars that have been in it as well.
Yeah, some of the guest stars. Yeah, all big stuff at that point. It was so exciting, everybody. And then you got to read about it in this amazing article. He's back and about time too. So this was another of the Alison Graham exclusives. She was loving this period of her career. She was everywhere, wasn't she, with Doctor Who? Real support.
This was the picture I thought was the poster in the other magazine we talked about, but it's not, is it?
It's got great colours though, hasn't it? It looks amazing.
Yeah. I didn't know at the time though that they were the TARDIS doors. I was thinking, what, oh, there's the seal of Rassilon. What's going on? Because this was one of those little things where you were just thinking, oh my goodness, because they were really trying to do their best to not give too much away about certain elements, weren't they? So this was really quite cool. One of the pictures we did get was this from the day, today's choices, and this was a picture for me that I was thrilled about, gentlemen. I just thought, oh my God, that's the console room. Look at that. Do you guys remember your initial reaction to this?
I do. I remember thinking it looks amazing. Then you see it in the movie, it still looks amazing. It really does.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
You could understand then how the March photos of the cloister room fitted into the theme. You sort of like got an idea of the feel of the whole thing at that point.
But you can see where they spent the 5 million or the 3 million or the 2 million, whatever the budget was.
You'd never have seen McCoy sitting on the TARDIS console in the 80s, would you? It'd have fallen over.
Leaning on it, maybe, but gingerly placing a hand on it.
Yeah, these pictures we all know now because they've been around for 30 years, but at the time these were all brand new. After an absence of 7 years, the Time Lord returns to our screens, regenerated for the 8th time. The Doctor is played this time by Paul McGann, although there is a brief appearance by Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who Mark 7. As the new millennium looms, McGann's Doctor is up against an evil rival. The Master, played by Eric Roberts, has opened the Eye of Harmony, the power source at the heart of the TARDIS, something that apparently threatens the very future of the world. Read about the Doctor's previous incarnations in our special 16-page pull-out supplement.
I see he's no
Happy
longer
day.
related to Julia Roberts in that article. You know,
No, they didn't need it at that point.
Yes.
They didn't need it at that point. But you can't really see. Look, I'll show you. There it is. There. That was really quite nice coverage for this.
Yeah.
And Monday the 27th, spring bank holiday. So let's have a look at this here. We've got, gosh, look at all these things, all the channels in this and everything like this. BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4, and all these things I've never heard of because they're not there anymore. So what we had, the lineup, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, was at 6 o'clock, the Red Nose Awards, 7 o'clock, that's show business. I love that. Do you remember Mike Smith?
Yes, yeah.
Sarah Green. So that was on at 7 o'clock. At 7:30 was Watchdog Health Check. At 8 o'clock, EastEnders, and then the big one for us was 8:30 with Doctor Who. After an absence of 7 years, the Doctor returns in a full-length adventure starring Paul McGann. On New Year's Eve 1999, a British police box materializes in San Francisco's Chinatown. You see, that sounds really good. I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
Following at 9:55 was the news. 10:20 was Cold Lazarus. 11:10 International Festival of the Sea, and then on the other side, on ITV, depending on the region you were in, but you would get, according to this, nothing because it's not on there. Hang on. Oh, it finishes. How weird is that? Oh, it must be on another paper. But there you go. We know that 9 o'clock was Bramwell. There you go. Does that bring any memories back, guys, about that?
Yeah, it's probably the latest we ever had Doctor Who, wasn't it? And certainly even with the new series, it's not been on that late, has it? That's like 8:30 till 10 o'clock, which is really quite late, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have watched it on a little portable in my bedroom. So I got on bed early because it finished late. And watched it on a little portable telly.
You couldn't have any kissing before 9 o'clock, could you? So
That's
probably
true. Yeah.
Well, that was a good sign for me. I thought it's on late. It's full of rumpy pumpy.
It should have a red triangle in the corner. You know what I mean? That's
I'll put tape in for this.
Yeah.
So that was it. So the Doctor had arrived. There was all the publicity. It wasn't just our TV guides that did it, because of course he did get a feature in the TV guide from America. This was it. The New Who, it was called. Now, I don't know if anybody would have turned around over in America thinking, well, who was the old one? I don't know what's going on.
Who's the new Who? Yeah, who? Yeah.
It says here, Doctor Who will air Tuesday, May the 14th at 8 p.m. ET on Fox. Assuming the role of the mercurial Dr. Paul McGann emerges from his time machine. So this was quite a big article, everybody, because it's it's 4 pages for the little thing.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's really quite in depth. I was quite surprised because when I first went to America, the TV guides, of course, are itty bitty. They are itty bitty. So to get 4 pages in this thing, I think was really, really good. The article was by Mark Nollinger, who was a freelance writer based in LA. And he really goes behind the scenes. He gets a chance to talk to British actor Paul McGann, Eric Roberts, Stephanie Ashbrook, of course. They talked to Philip Siegel, Sylvester McCoy. It's just good for them. They tried, you know. I mean, if you don't know British views, there it is. There's the page. Look, it's teeny weeny.
It's like Reader's Digest, isn't it? Sort of size.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, or the People's Friend, as it was back then, maybe as well.
Yeah.
Got to say that police box looks fantastic.
It does.
They got it.
Yes,
they got it right, whereas the new series in 2005 got it wrong.
Yeah, it is a point, isn't it? You've got a point there. It does look really good.
Interesting how they say time machine as well, rather than like over here it would be TARDIS.
The TARDIS.
They don't know what it is over there.
What I was going to say, Phil, is tying in with your point there, is what this article really does in TV Guide. A venerable sci-fi cult favorite, Doctor Who is vividly reborn on network TV. And what it does is it really pushes the fact that he's a time traveler and explains the attraction of Doctor Who in Britain and how it's massive. And they really go to it. They really try and sell it to what is effectively a huge brand new audience.
Yeah.
And so well done for them for having a go. Eventually, McGann was won over. That's getting the part of the Doctor. But he wasn't prepared for the public response his signing would generate, especially in Britain, where Doctor Who is much more than a TV programme. It's a bona fide cultural institution. It was on the evening news and in all the lead columns of the newspapers, he says with amazement. It felt like I'd just got the US ambassadorship or something. It's only been the last few days I've been thinking, whoa, I'm going to have to live up to this. He may have time to get used to the attention. The movie also serves as a pilot, and McGann has already signed a long-term contract to star in a prospective Doctor Who series that would air both here and in Britain. It's a classic franchise, Philip Segal says. If we get a strong rating, the future bodes very well for the good Doctor.
It's interesting that he says as the ambassador, because he would have been a lot less embarrassing than Mendelssohn, wouldn't he? Really?
I think so.
Oh, didn't America put it on, and it was against the series finale ever of Rosie O'Donnell or something like that, which was
Roseanne.
Yeah. And it got so that it was up against it, wasn't it? It was like the equivalent of McCoy against Coronation Street in the 80s.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shame.
Absolutely. Funky is saying to me, JT, don't forget, the day before on UK Gold at 11:10 a.m, The Keeper of Charkham was shown. I didn't know that because I didn't have access to it. Didn't have access to that. So, no, I was too busy. I mean, I remember 1996, to be honest, guys, I think Doctor Who was probably the only series I watched, or the only thing I watched, because I was too busy going out. I wasn't really in at all. Working and going out, and it's the 90s.
I was all over TV, and there was loads of great sites.
Yeah, you were a lot younger though, weren't you?
Yeah. But we had.
Well, he's 15. He tells you just there.
15.
Yeah, it was 15.
We had Star Trek, The X-Files, The Outer Limits would have been on around that time. I was in Nerd.
Red Dwarf, was that on?
Red Dwarf would have been on, yeah.
No.
Quantum Leap, would that have been on?
Oh, bloody loved a Quantum Leap.
This is pre-Perno, though, isn't it? Perno and Black, isn't it, Phil? Just checking. Yeah. No.
There's some crossover.
Okay. I don't want to incriminate yourself.
Guys.
So,
That was. Yeah. Can you get retroactively arrested for?
Possibly. Who knows? Probably in this country, yes. Probably.
Yeah. Probably. There's a SWAT unit on its way.
We've also got this from May the 14th, 1996. Doctor Who lands on Fox tonight. This is from the Rockland Journal News. And they gave over quite a significant part of a page to this strange, weird television show from Britain that had a little bit of an American makeover. It was written by Ellen Gray, Night Ridder Newspapers. It's probably fitting that Paul McGann, who tonight makes his debut as the 8th Doctor, is from Liverpool. Not only were 4 more famous Liverpudlians once guest stars on the long-running BBC series that inspired tonight's movie, they performed Ticket to Ride in a 1965 episode, but the fanfare in Britain that greeted McGann's casting is reminiscent of the fuss that once accompanied the Fab Four's every move. There was a huge brouhaha when the announcement was made in December, it says here, but it was January, recalled McGann in a phone interview last week. I was surprised. I was in Canada at the time, getting ready to shoot the two-hour movie that airs tonight at 8 on Fox. Relatives, he said, sent him a copy of the front page editorials that heralded the choice, one McGann himself still doesn't completely understand. I wouldn't have approached me to play Doctor Who, said the actor, whose past work has mostly been in feature films, Alien 3, The Three Musketeers, and the London Stage. And the prospect of a possible 5-year commitment, tonight's movie as a pilot, was kind of scary, he said. McGann, 36, was only a toddler when Doctor Who, The Chronicles of a Renegade Time Lord Who Travels Through Space and Time, premiered on the BBC in November 1963. While he might not have considered himself a Whovian, he was familiar with the series. In Britain, you couldn't really miss it, he said. Everybody's seen it. Even if they're not fans, it's as common as the news, and taken just as seriously. A minor scandal erupted during the filming in Vancouver, McGann said, when a London newspaper got hold of a daily plot summary. In one scene, McGann's co-star, Daphne Ashbrook, who plays the latest of the Doctor's female companions, is supposed to hit the Doctor over the head. It's okay, she's possessed at the time. The plot summary, McGann said, read, Grace bonks the Doctor, which in Canada is fairly innocuous, but in Britain it means the noble art of lovemaking. Oops. Within 48
that explains a lot, yeah.
Within 48 hours, this had made the papers in Britain, and fans, he said, were not amused. The Doctor is famously celibate, a choice McGann agrees with, even though he's the first of the Doctors to have an on-screen kiss, at least one that gets shown. In the 70s, he said, the Doctor, played by Tom Baker, got married to his assistant in a 2-episode arc, but then they got cold feet and never aired it. Where did he get that from? His own kiss with Grace, he insists, was very chaste, although viewers may disagree. She happens to be 6 inches from his mouth at the time, so he kisses her, he said. The Doctor's a child, he said. I think sex is out of place for this character. There are bigger things to think about. There are more burning passions. And on the left-hand side, it goes through various facts and figures that we all know as it presents this to the readers of Rockland Journal News on Tuesday, May the 14th, 1996.
It's interesting to mix up the Tom and Lala wedding with an actual episode. That's interesting.
Shame on you, McGann. He probably knows better now. So anyway, so they got it at that point. We got it on the 27th of May, as we all know. That was that. And then what happened afterwards? Well, we just all went, oh, okay. That was that. Some people go on in.
Sorry, I think just going back before its transmission, I know it's not a particularly happy thing, but it got impacted, didn't it? Because a few days before it was actually transmitted, we had the incident at Dunblane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that resulted in an edit to the TV movie.
Yes.
On transmission, with the gunshots and everything as the Doctor came out of the TARDIS, which was probably a little bit knee-jerk, but at the time everybody was sensitive, weren't they? But when you watch the TV movie at the time, it was obvious something had happened and there'd been a cut, and it just didn't look right. And when they reinstated it years later, I think if it had been a month after the event, it might not have been cut. But I think they were just doing everything to be, hyper aware, probably unnecessarily and overcompensating. But it was obviously a terrible event, but it still had an impact on the program, didn't it? Which was sad. Sorry about that detour there.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I'm actually quite pleased they took those elements out, because having seen the film when it was released, I thought they were terrible. I didn't think they suited the film at all. I thought they were too graphic, too violent. I thought it was out of place for the Doctor. We're going to be talking more about this, of course, in our review of the TV movie in May. So come and join us about that, because you can look at any version you want to bring it on. What we're going to be looking at as well is the new version, which is coming out on Blu-ray, when we actually look at what is on the Blu-ray rather than the episodes. So 2 different shows for you there as well. But I'm really glad they edited it out. I just thought it was a bit. When I saw it, I thought, "Oh, is that what it is?" Ugh. I tell you what else happened.
It set the scene for where it was supposed to be, because obviously America, that kind of gunplay, if it had been landing in Britain, would have probably been out of the ordinary, because we didn't really have that then that much. Whereas, because it was supposed to be set in San Francisco, I think it was more scene setting really, because it was around gang activity, wasn't it? He was a gang member, essentially.
Yeah, Chang Lee was. Yeah.
Chang Lee, yeah. Got lots to still get through, everybody. Thank you for staying with us. From The Guardian on Saturday, May the 25th, 1996, a preview of the Doctor Who TV movie. They wanted to make a shiny, foil-wrapped new pilot for the 90s. They also wanted to remain faithful to a series which started in 1963 and produced 30 years of convoluted continuity. They wanted action-adventure with Hollywood-type special effects, sprawling sets, and name actors. They also wanted sparky, magical, offbeat sci-fi. They wanted it to be accessible to a whole new American audience. They also wanted to appease the hardcore of long-time British fans. And so, into the yawning chasm between these 2 sets of stools, with a few scuffs either side, glides the sad, wheezing, groaning coffin of Doctor Who.
Yeah, anyone using the word stools in a review does make it sound a bit dodgy, to be fair.
Well done, The Guardian. May the 25th, 1996. There you go. I tell you who was appreciated for, though, the readers of the Radio Times, which is this particular slide from the Radio Times, the week after the Doctor Who TV movie. And as you can see, these particular people here, they are very appreciative of it. This is the fans, everybody. Can you tell? This is fandom. They seem to love it. The Radio Times was actually very busy at this point with a lot of people actually saying how good it was. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that happening today, everybody?
No.
Can you imagine them actually getting letters into the Radio Times today about Doctor Who? No. Doesn't really happen these days, does it, everybody? No. Not at all. Not at all. What else we got here as well? There was lots of stuff going on. The Radio Times, of course, also started to do this. This was the very sort of short-lived sci-fi page. This was where BBC Enterprises was, of course, hoping and praying that Doctor Who would go to a series so they could keep this going. And they introduced the Doctor Who comic strip, do you remember? Which was written by Gary Russell and illustrated by Lee Sullivan, as you can see there. Look at that.
It's some lovely artwork as well, isn't it? It's really nice.
Beautiful artwork. But this was the ongoing story of the 8th Doctor. And as you can see, his first villain in this was going to be the Cybermen. This was every week, everybody. You had to buy it every week. There's an introduction there, as you can see. Welcome to our new weekly sci-fi page. Ta-da! There's a wee tribute there to John as well on that one. But buying it weekly, they were hoping a little bit there, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were pushing it a bit. Absolutely, they were. But there was lots going on. Doctor Who itself here in the United Kingdom did get a lot of reviews as well. Paul's just who good to be true, said the Daily Mirror on the 28th of May. Ha ha ha, who good to be true. They were very supportive of it. Good for them. We've got these as well. So this is Alan Lang. Do anybody remember him? He wrote for the Herald.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was saying here, the show is set in 1999, and we are taking some liberties with a lot of stuff, says Peter Ware, the American producer of the mega-hyped 90-minute television movie, which sees the return of the Time Lord after a 7-year absence. Whovian traditionalists have been warned. Part of the endearing charm of the original series, with its tackiness, the cardboard and sellotape backdrops, and the Heath.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
All of that has gone. Universal, who have co-produced with the Beeb, have given it the full Star Trek treatment with the sophisticated state-of-the-art techniques which American audiences apparently require. The last Doc, Sylvester McCoy, makes a brief appearance at the start of the TARDIS as it touches down in present-day San Francisco. Pretty soon, he's replaced by Paul McGann, who goes on to face evil arch-villain the Master, Eric Roberts, in an epic battle to save the universe. Sounds so exciting. So anyways, that's that particular one. This
Eric Roberts, any relation to Julia?
I think he may have been.
Possibly, yes.
Not been mentioned.
I think he may have been. I think he may have been, actually. After the TV movie came and went, Doctor Who magazine was still there, of course, everybody, with this particular article, Which Way Now, from the July cover edition from 1996. The future of Doctor Who remains uncertain. And it certainly did. After all the brouhaha, after all the hype, we see the thing. Fandom has a lot of conversations. The whole thing about McGann doesn't count started to crop up. Strange how things come around all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The discussions were there. The one thing that people seemed to agree on was the TARDIS. I remember that at conventions. Oh, the TARDIS was good though, wasn't it? Oh, the TARDIS was wonderful. Yeah. Great performer there. Yes. And Paul McGann. He was a massive hit with us all, I think.
Yeah.
To this day, which is why we're celebrating 30 years of him now. But did you notice that other particular story that was on that edition of the Gallifrey Guardian? Because things were changing in other areas thanks to the introduction of this film. Let's have a look at that, shall we? As BBC Books announced that they were to take over from the Virgin Books when it came to publishing Doctor Who novels and non-fiction. Do you guys remember when this happened? Because this caused a bit of a stir in Doctor Who.
I remember because Virgin has some great books, and for me, more sort of the factual books, like the 80s book or the 60s, they were great books. And the handbooks as well were superb. I wasn't so bored about the novels quite so much, but it was a shame the BBC decided to just leave Virgin in the lurch a bit, to be honest, you know?
They'll leave them in the lurch, yeah. I mean,
it was like typical BBC, though, wasn't it? It was like, you've been doing this, you've been carrying the torch for quite a few years now, you've built something up really good. we're going to take it away from you and try and ride on the coattails of your success. And they were okay, but to be honest, I preferred the Virgin ones. Some of them were fantastic.
I
Really
used to
were.
devour the old Virgin Missing Adventures because I'd buy them secondhand from the Black Cat bookshop in Leicester, and then I would read them on the school bus and stuff like that. I'd just rip through them. I used to love them, but then I loved the BBC ones when they came out as well.
Well, yeah, the Virgin books, of course, had started at after the series had finished, actually, in 1990. I'm going to refer now to this wonderful book that I've referred to before on this series. This is by David J. Howe. It's called The Who Adventures. And this is the art and history of Virgin Publishing's Doctor Who fiction. And it says here in chapter 12, All Change, the first clear indication of trouble ahead for Virgin Publishing's Doctor Who ranges came when BBC Books took the decision to publish themselves a novelization of the new TV movie. Moreover, they commissioned one of Virgin's authors, Gary Russell, to write it. In addition to the novelization, they published a script book and a postcard book of the movie, and news of Doctor Who's impending small screen return also spurred other areas of merchandising into life, with the overall effect that BBC Worldwide, of which BBC Books was a part of, was more aware than it had been previously of the show's enduring commercial potential. At the end of 1995, just before the movie was announced, BBC Worldwide had reviewed all the then current third-party Doctor Who licenses and decided that BBC Books should in future publish any official tie-in titles. By coincidence, which was lucky for BBC Worldwide and unlucky for Virgin Publishing, Virgin's current license period happened to expire in 1996. So BBC Worldwide simply declined to renew, signalling the end of Virgin's ranges of Doctor Who fiction. This wasn't an immediate decision, reveals Peter Darville Evans. I actually spent some 18 months prior to that trying to talk to BBC Worldwide about it. It was an intensely frustrating time. It was impossible to find out from BBC Worldwide what plans they had for Doctor Who licensing. At first, the only indication was that they had any plans at all was that the fact I couldn't pin down Chris Weller, who at that time was in overall charge of the book ranges, Richard Hollis, the licensing manager, or anyone else to talk about renewing Virgin Publishing's license. Then, once it became clear that BBC Worldwide wanted BBC Books to publish tie-ins to the new 8th Doctor TV movie, we still couldn't find out whether or not Virgin Publishing would be licensed to continue publishing all, some, or new of the several sorts of Doctor Who books, new adventures, missing adventures, non-fiction, that we and our predecessor companies have been producing for 25 years. So 1996 was a very important time for Virgin Publishing. These are the last novels that Virgin published in the new adventures between 1996 and the end of their license in 1997, starting with Just War by Lance Parking, bless him, and finishing with Lance Parking, The Dying Days. Massive sellers at the time. Doctor Who really got behind this range, as I'm sure we all, well, I know we did on the panel. Yeah, this was a little bit of a shock. At the time, I remember thinking as well, it's the BBC's right, it's the BBC's show. Yeah. You know, they have this right to do this. But there was also that sort of stuff of, oh, well, we're just going to take what you guys have done, because they announced, of course, that they were going to do the same thing, the continuing new adventures with the 8th Doctor, and then copy what Virgin had done with the missing adventures. This is all the missing adventures, which, of course, were the adventures that starred past Doctors. And I look at things now, gentlemen, and I just think these were the days, because this doesn't happen now. Where are the regular books today? You know, you don't get them because they don't sell anymore. This show was off the air. And by 1996, this show had been off the air for 7 years. These books were coming out 2 a month at one point, and they were selling. These were big. These were massive. And there was only one show in 1996 of Doctor Who. We've had years of modern Doctor Who now, and the books have been ridiculous.
It was the same with Doctor Who magazine, though, wasn't it? The sales for Doctor Who magazine took they were consistent because they tied in with the books, didn't they? They did little previews and things like that. Then they really milked the memory of the TV movie. They got a good few years out of that. They got the bounce. But again, with nothing regular on TV for the best part of 15, 16 years, they were selling. You're absolutely right. They were selling. And yet now, big budget, massive, at death's door. Certainly, the magazine is. There's no real books apart from novelizations of some of the episodes that have been on TV, and they sell about 4 copies.
Yeah. So 1996 was a pivotal year for Doctor Who publishing, and of course, we were saying goodbye to Virgin as the BBC took over. And by God, this is what they did. You could get Doctor Who everywhere, basically. There is, of course, the infamous cover to the VHS from the left-hand side. You had the novel of the film, read by Paul McGann himself, on cassette, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's in the middle there on the left, with the postcard book, which confusingly had the same blooming cover. And then you had Matthew Jacobs writing the script of the film. I've also included in this picture as well the release of the score, the official soundtrack from John Debney from the film. That was around. Let's just have a look at the video cover. This was it. It came with a foil version of the logo, unless you went to Woolworths, where you could get one that glowed in the dark. Yes, I kid you not. But that's the front and back of what was the Doctor Who VHS. I'm sure a lot of you still have it to this day, and with one of Paul's very favourite covers on there.
I love that cover. It's a great. Again, it's quite pretentious, but I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just as well that you liked it, because of course that was also the cover for the novel we've just been talking about, which launched the range for the BBC books, written by Gary Russell. In 1996, we got 3 VHSs. We had The Hand of Fear, which was the last of the regular range. And remember when they announced that this was going to stop, the VHS range was going to stop because they were waiting for the Doctor Who TV movie to come out. But we did get that version of the Green Death when John passed as a tribute to him. Do you remember this?
I do, yeah. And that was a double cassette one, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, double cassette one. So by today's standard, nothing. One thing that they also went to town on was the marketing, because this was everywhere. Yes, the Seal of Rassilon was on practically everything going, because, of course, it was included in the TV movie. And we're not stupid, because we knew that they were trying to do. They were marketing it as it reminded me of the Starfleet Enterprise insignia, which became the Star Trek.
Yeah.
But as we know, the Seal of Voga, wasn't it? That's the thing. But
But the Seal of Rassilon, they did go to town on it. I had 2 record bags with the Seal of Rassilon. I love that record bag. I wish I bought a 3rd one, because I went through the 2 because I used it all the time, because it went with me everywhere. They were brilliant. They were bigger on the inside. I have the keyring still. Yeah, I've got the watch. It's upstairs. I've got the Seal of Rassilon keyring. Got 2 of them upstairs. I've got the mug. I've got the Doctor Who logo mug. The T-shirts. There were several Paul McGann T-shirts available, one of which included the Seal of Rassilon. It didn't work for them, but it was a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Who else in the chat remembers the Seal of Rassilon being big there? None of us saw that one coming.
But it just kind of looked Celtic, didn't it? So any kind of we just thought you had Irish, sort of Scottish ancestry or something.
And then you have to explain it. That was the thing.
Yeah.
You just say you're from Gallifrey, and they'd say, "Is that in Ireland?" And you just say,
exactly. Yeah.
Apart from Dublin.
Yeah.
In fact, 20 minutes in this whole thing.
If you didn't know what that logo was, it wasn't conspicuous at all. But if you did, because I had my record bag with me everywhere, I would be in the pub after work in the evenings, and people would come up and say, "Oh, what did you think of the movie?" Yeah. And then you found another Doctor Who friend. It was incredible, and that was all good stuff back in the day. I really enjoyed all of that. Julianne is saying to us, I was always trotting off to W.H. Smith's to get the latest missing adventure. Good for you. And Mark, hello, Mark A. Wright. It could be argued that Fandom was at its strongest in the mid-90s, helped by UK Gold, a steady stream of archived VHS and new adventures in book form. There had never been more Doctor Who available. Yes, I totally agree. Look at the state of 1996 and compare it to right now.
Yeah.
No contest. Fantastic back then. Funky is saying, I went to Woolworths. I remember the glow-in-the-dark cover. Have you still got it, Funks? And did it actually glow? I've never found out. Did it glow in the dark? Julianne is saying, yep, I've still got the VHS. Yeah, I've got 2 upstairs as well. I'm hoping that I can sell one day. what else we got here as well? Keith Burton is saying yes, the mug of Rassilon, the key ring of Rassilon, and the polka dot striped pajamas of Rassilon as well. All of it was there. It was a good idea, but it just didn't take off because the film didn't take off properly. You know.
Yeah.
I love the seal of Rassilon, says Stephen Jeannie Frith. I just got Rassilon coasters from the Bedford Charity Con. Yeah, it's still around. It could have been huge. You know. Oh, yes.
Little pin badges you got as well. You little circular badges you got. Well, I think you got one of them with the box set when you got the movie. I think as well. Yeah.
Well, I certainly did from my copy, which I think was from either. It must have been our price because I got a discount in there. It might have been HMV, and I got the Doctor Who logo. Still got that. And you got postcards. I've still got the postcards. You got postcards from various places as well. You know, it's good to have friends in different shops that could just get me the gifts. Because I wasn't buying any more than 2 of the VHS at that point. So, yeah. TARDIS key on a chain is a more subtle code for fans, says Funky. That was a beautiful thing based on the Pertwee and Tom Baker key. I've still got that beautiful grey box upstairs, presentation box. There was, Stephen is saying to us, Steve Braddock, there was so much Doctor Who merchandise in 96, and yet now there's nothing.
Yeah.
And Darren Reed is saying to us, didn't the Hand of Fear video have a smaller circulation? Yes, it did, because it was released when they announced that the McGann movie was coming back, and then everything from Doctor Who had to be withdrawn because they were renewing everything, including their own VHSs and their own cassettes and stuff like that. And so it was a bizarre time, because for a little while, the only thing that was available was the Doctor Who magazine. Yeah. Really. You know, we had to wait till May. Bizarre time, but happy time, I think.
Do you remember, I think it was an HMV, when they were promoting it after the midnight sale, they had this trailer that was playing in HMV with all different clips from different doctors, and they had I don't know if they had a clip of McGann or I can't remember if they did or not, but it certainly was a clip of previous doctors on a loop in HMV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do remember that. I have a version of it upstairs.
All right, fantastic.
Yes, from our price, actually. It was on a loop. And then I had another one. I had another one with a publicity thing, which is actually on the Blu-rays, I think, now, or the DVDs, one of the two, which is that promotional thing where you've got Sylvan talking to camera and stuff like that. They showed that. Because I remember it, for that week, seem to remember every video store, Our Price, WH Smith, Tower, Virgin, HMV, it was on the monitors in the video department, just playing Doctor Who movie. Yeah. And this, of course, we have to remember, was a couple of weeks before it hit television here in the UK. Yeah. So it was massive. And it went straight into number 1, if I recall rightly as well. Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
Yeah. So some things don't change, do they? You were mentioning earlier on, in fact, I got the advert. Look at this. Who boldly glows? Isn't that brilliant? Only Woolworths have the glow-in-the-dark Doctor Who video sleeve, everybody. This was in the Daily Mirror, Tuesday, May the 28th, 1996, I found that. Look at that.
Lovely.
Happy days. Yes, Doctor Who, 1996. We had lows, we had the highs, but a big high came as a huge surprise to the BBC, the industry, and Barbara Windsor. I am, of course, talking about the now famous night, which was broadcast live to celebrate 60 years of the BBC. And guess what won the best drama of all time, as voted for by the public? Yes, it was Doctor Who. And I think, guys, as well, that the Doctor Who TV movie must have helped contribute to this achievement. It must have reminded people.
And Fandom, of course, as well. Yeah.
So, of course. Yeah. You could vote. You could vote. It was all given away. The details were given away in Radio Times, TV Times, all that sort of stuff. And the papers were all getting on board with this. And we were celebrating 60 years of the BBC. And they were saying you can vote for shows and what have you. So, of course, Fandom was there as well. But I do actually genuinely believe, Paul, that the McGann thing may have had contributions. I go, I remember this. I loved it.
I'm sure it did. But I think you could vote multiple times, couldn't you? And you could phone up and vote as well. So there's no restriction on how many times you could vote. I'm speaking for somebody who voted many times. But
I just remember getting ready to go out that night and them getting to this particular point which was the most popular BBC drama of 60 years at that point, all time on the BBC. And they were going through the list, blah, blah, blah. And they were about to open the envelope to read out the. And I remember Barbara Windsor getting ready to get off her seat for EastEnders. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Her face was a picture, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It really was.
Absolute shock for Babs there. Absolute shock.
She was livid.
She was livid. She was,
Yeah.
she was pure livid, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's the article here. So this was a big page spread. This one is from the Herald, Monday, November the 4th, 1996. I can zoom into the bit about Doctor Who here for you. One of the surprises of the night was the best popular drama, where Doctor Who beat Ballykiss Angel, Casualty, and EastEnders. Former Doctor Peter Davidson, I got it wrong there, who was 45 at the time, said, "No one has done Doctor Who better than the BBC, and they ought to be doing it now. It was up against some classic programs, and it shows what an impact that this has had on people."
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
He knew what he was talking about even
And
then.
he still does. Yeah.
Peter Davison for showrunner, everyone. There's the article. It's huge. Look at it. Can you see that? Look.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at the size of that. Absolutely huge. Yeah, so there we go. Lovely picture of William Hartnell and Peter Purvis there as well from back in the day. So that was great. But what a great way to end 1996 with Doctor Who being recognised as the most popular drama on the BBC in 60 years of BBC television. Absolutely fantastic, isn't it, Who viewers? And by this point, we as fans were beginning to realise, bugger, it's not coming back.
It's not coming back.
Oh my God, that was a one-night thing. Paul McGann is forever going to be the one-time Doctor, or as he called it, the George Lazenby of the Time Lords.
Yeah.
But it wasn't particularly right, was he, really? Because as we're going to prove next month here on the channel, the 8th Doctor lived on. And we've got a lot of shows coming your way next month as we do celebrate, as we showed earlier on, 30 years of the 8th Doctor. You're not going to want to miss them. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of our Wilderness Years series with myself and Paul, 3rd Doctor Ian, and with Phil. A walk down memory lane there for us all, everybody.
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was getting references to Pernon Black as well from Phil. That took me right back. I have to say that.
And not one about Time Lash either.
Yeah.
So,
It was tempting. It was really tempting, but we managed to hold back on that.
maybe we can call it the Time Lash. It's Perno. with a
Maybe
list
we
of
can't.
I'll have
did
a Time
hear
Lash,
that
please,
somebody-
Barkeep.
I did hear that somebody went for Pertwee's autograph and they only had a copy of Time Lash, and he said, "Go off and get one of mine." And they said, "Do you not like it?" And just, "No, it's shit."
He said,
Right, okay,
"'Cause
we'll
I'm
move
not
on.
in
We'll
that,
move
I
on
want
now.
to be."
Fight. There we go.
Yeah, fed up with talking about Time Lapse now, so let's move on. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody that has joined us tonight. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you're not new to the channel, please make sure you are still subscribed. Give us a thumbs up, give us a hype, do all the stuff you know you've got to do. Please, yes, join us as we move forward in May, celebrating the 8th Doctor. You're not going to want to miss what we've got coming up for you. All the shows will appear on the Who's Views show page over the next couple of days. Stay tuned and set yourselves reminders. From us, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Leave us your comments. Give us an email, whosviews1@gmail.com. But until we see you again on the channel soon, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Where will we go next in the Wilderness Years? You'll have to stay tuned and find out. Until next time, ta-ra, everybody. Look after yourselves.
Great, man. Bye-bye.
There we go.
Bye.